Good evening. Welcome to Soundtracks with Birdman. Tonight, after nearly 2 years, we're finally getting around to doing a James Bond film. And we are doing Tomorrow Never Dies, the second Pierce Brosnan, the first David Arnold James Bond film. And boy, did he ever knock it out of the park with this one. I love this score. I love the soundtrack. Boomer, was this one your idea or was this my idea?
Your idea. You just came out of the blue and you were like, Tomorrow Never Dies. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Okay, cool. And special guest tonight, Zootopia is coming back to chit chat with us. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Birdman. How are you?
I'm okay. So, Zootopia, what was the first James Bond movie you saw in the theater?
That was GoldenEye. So the first Bond movie I ever saw in the theater was Pierce Brosnan. So he's kind of my second favorite Bond because he's the first one I saw on the big screen.
Okay. Yeah. And Boomer, what about you?
This was the first Bond movie I ever saw in a theater. I was initially not into James Bond growing up. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't show him. I knew of him.
You dropped on your head as a child?
I don't know what it was. I think.
I mean, you grew up in New Jersey, right? Did you live under an overpass or something?
I knew of James Bond. I kind of thought he was like an old-fashioned character. I don't know. I just didn't get around to watching him. Then I think it was in '94 or sometime around there. I was a big Nintendo fan, and I learned that Nintendo had bought the rights to use the next James Bond movie in one of their upcoming video games. I didn't know what the video game was going to be, if it was for their current system, the Super Nintendo, or for Nintendo 64. But I figure I buy everything Nintendo makes because they were, and in many ways still are, a brilliant game producer. So anything Nintendo made, I would typically buy. And I was like, I should probably brush up on some James Bond, but I figure I'll see the GoldenEye movie when it comes out. Somehow I missed it in theaters, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention at the time. But when it came to pay-per-view, I think even before it came to cable, when it was like you had to purchase it off the pay-per-view thing. But that was what we had back in the day before streaming. You would request your movie off the satellite, and then of course I recorded it on a VHS SP for the best picture. Of course, hopefully that movie didn't go over 2 hours. I didn't think about that. But yeah, I did record it off of there to watch it, and which was probably illegal. But don't worry, since I've purchased the movie 3 times since then, so okay. But yeah, watched GoldenEye, was fascinated, and then I think that Christmas, my sister, or maybe it was the following year, my sister got me the Sean Connery VHS 6-pack, which were all in widescreen, which was nice, and the VHS. I got the first 6 Connery movies. And then I tried finding the other movies, on my own. Sometimes they would show them on TV, but they'd be commercials. TNT would often do a Bond marathon once around Thanksgiving once each year. But I would, I had to go to a Blockbuster to rent some of them. And then, of course, later on, we get DVDs. And I bought all the Bond movies. As soon as I got my DVD player, I think it wasn't long after when I started purchasing all of the Bond movies on DVD. I then rebought them when they came out with those special edition box sets. And big into Bond. GoldenEye, of course, was a huge game. First-person shooter, Nintendo 64. Everybody was playing it.
That was a great game.
It was. Yeah.
Hard as anything, but it was so much fun.
And I think that game, along with GoldenEye and Pierce Brosnan coming on the scene, got a lot of us young guys into James Bond that hadn't necessarily been exposed to it, or maybe they...
You were in college, were you not, when GoldenEye came out?
Freshman year. I was still not great at driving. I could drive myself to school, but it was my freshman year. I was 18 when GoldenEye came out.
In college. You were an adult.
I wasn't going to the movies on a regular basis. When I got better at the driving than I did. Okay, probably in the spring of that year. In fact, I remember Rumble in the Bronx was out, and I wanted to see it, but I didn't want to travel like a city over to see it. So a couple cities over to see it. So I missed out on Rumble in the Bronx as well. So, and like I said, I think in the '90s, I think Jackie Chan, Pierce Brosnan, they were the 2 big action stars. And just a big fan of the Pierce Brosnan era. These were great movies to go see with your buddies, and you go get something to eat, then you go see a Bond movie. And I wish that I don't know. I guess that's kind of a bygone era now. I guess we sort of have the Mission Impossible movies. They're sort of like the replacement Bond movies now. But back then, this was it, and everyone was really hyped for this because this movie had come out. Goldeneye, the game, had come out a few months earlier, and I was already caught up on Bond at that point. I even purchased a Bond CD-ROM that had like trailers and info on all the movies. Remember CD-ROMs for computers, Birdman?
I know what they are.
I think I got the CD with all the Bond songs on it, up to License to Kill. They didn't have Goldeneye in the album yet, but no, I was just big into Bond at this point. This was when Bond was exploding, and I think Austin Powers. I'm not sure when that came out. Was that the spring?
That was
Was that the?
99.
That was 99. Was that 99?
No. That was the second one. The first one came out, I think, 96.
Yeah, I don't remember. I
96.
I might have seen. I got to find this out now because I remember Austin Powers had come out, and that. I mean, it riffed on a lot of spy movies, but the main one was James Bond, and I was already familiar with Bond, so a lot of those jokes hit harder with me, and like the whole spy thing took off after that. Like and Goldeneye is responsible for the whole those '90s spy movies that we got. Like Ronin, I consider that a spy movie, and
Yeah,
actually,
that was a good one.
if you think about the ending, it actually is a spy movie. But because when you find out what De Niro's spoiler, never mind. But Austin Powers came out. When did this come out? 97. All right. So I must have seen. Yeah, I think I saw Austin Powers in the spring, and this movie.
Boomer, you still there?
Well,
Boomer?
I think that I think that this one, the first two Brosnan movies, I think, really revitalized James Bond because they kind of stopped and they went away after the Timothy Dalton era. Just those two movies. I think that part of it, I think they had a rights issue involving the Bond movies, but also I think people were not quite used to seeing the way that Timothy Dalton portrayed James Bond, a little more serious, a little more violent, and especially License to Kill. That one was fairly action and violent than they were used to. Certainly more than Roger Moore had become. But the Brosnan era, I think, it brought a lot of action to it, but it also brought, Pierce Brosnan is very charming, and people kind of saw the levity in him, and he kind of had a little bit of he played Bond very seriously when he needed to, but when he needed to be he took joy in playing Bond, and also gave Bond a little bit of flippant attitude toward him. It was, I thought that it was just it was a good mix of Roger Moore and Timothy Dalton, and they really brought it. I think that's what brought audiences back, and certainly the video game helped quite a bit to popularize that and brought a lot of people into the new era of Bond, because I think that there's really a big break in Bond. If you were to talk about eras of James Bond, I think that the ground in between Timothy Dalton and Pierce Brosnan was kind of the end and the beginning of the third era, the end of the second era and beginning of the third era of James Bond. I almost think that Pierce Brosnan is his own era. The other ones I kind of look at, you kind of had the Sean Connery era, and then you had which includes George Lazenby, and then you had the Roger Moore and Timothy Dalton era, and then Pierce Brosnan is kind of his own. And it'll be interesting to see what they do after the Daniel Craig era, if that's completely different, because I don't know. This is definitely, you can see a continuation. They purposely made it kind of a continuation for all of the Bonds up until Daniel Craig, where they kind of rebooted it. And Daniel Craig was definitely influenced by the Bourne movies, and so they kind of rebooted it and went back to the beginning. So it'll be interesting to see, are they able to continue it? Are they going to go back, and is every new Bond now going to be a start over from the beginning? I don't really like that idea. I suppose, I always remember everything is not what it's about; it's always how it's about it. So if they can do it well, great. I was ultimately let down by the Daniel Craig era, but tonight's movie is this is the middle of the great Pierce Brosnan ones. I think GoldenEye is the best. I think this one is the second, and I think The World Is Not Enough is a decent movie, and I'm looking forward to being able to talk about this one.
All right. Boomer is saying his internet is kaputty, and
Oh, what do you do?
I don't know. It's went kaputty.
Well, I think the first.
Let me just welcome the chat real fast.
Sure.
And Big Al's in the house. Hello, Big Al. Oh, I gotta go all the way back up here. He says, I'm Al, Big Al. That's what the ladies say. Go Team Ghost Planet. Hello, how are you? David Pensack says I read it, and tomorrow the only source for accurate news. Yeah, that and Twitter. Yep. David says he's so old hearing y'all's comments. Yeah, I'm like disappointed in both of you that you didn't grow up watching James Bond on TBS. That's where I got, and James Bond was on TBS. So
I think I was a kid, and I was really into movies. I watched them all the time, and neighbor gave me some tapes of James Bond. I'd heard of James Bond, but never seen any of his movies. They hadn't been on TV. But they gave me on video, and I watched them, and I was like, "This is great! I love this." I think it was Dr. No. That might have been my first James Bond movie on video.
I think that was the very first James Bond movie.
Yeah, I don't remember. I fell in love with Goldfinger. It's still the best. You put it together a top 5 list. Goldfinger is still the number one. No one has been able to top that. I don't think. I don't know if it's just because it was finally they kind of had all the synergy of what James Bond was and who he was, and it all just kind of worked together, and everyone's that's the best way to be able to present it. Goldfinger is that's the best one. You'd have to make a pretty good case for me for another one to be able to convince me that it's not the best one.
I mean, I think Die Another Day is the finest Bond movie ever.
Oh my goodness! All right,
joking.
Thanks for having me on. We'll see
Okay.
you guys.
We all have our opinions.
Are you back, Boomer?
I'm back. Sorry, my
Okay.
internet's we've been having power outages. If I disappear, just go without me. But we can start. And by the way, Goldfinger's great, but I am partial to Spy Who Loved Me myself.
I
it's not a
can't blame you for that. That's a really good one. Best car. I still think that's the best car.
Yeah. I will say this though: most disgusting or deplorable Bond villain is Goldfinger, in my opinion. I think he is one of the worst. I
don't know. Did Sanchez and License to Kill?
He's bad, but he'll make me laugh. Like Goldfinger, I just find him completely disgusting. I think he's a horrible human being, and I understand why Bond, especially Connery's Bond, particularly hates him in that movie. Yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm going to queue up my Blu-ray just in case there's another internet thing. I at least will keep track of the movie, but I also have it on Amazon, so just give me 1 second.
Big Al says his first was For Your Eyes Only. David
That's a good one.
His was The Spy Who Loved Me.
For Your Eyes Only is good. I think the villain's a little lacking, but I think because they're trying to set up Topol as the villain, but it's not really him. It's somebody else. Because he's more charismatic than the actual villain we had in it. But
David said he tracked down a Russian jet, just like the one used in the pre-credit sequence.
No kidding.
Is it parked in your backyard? If so, can I come over and...
Well, a lot of people didn't know, but James Bond is actually based on my life.
Really? Yeah,
they just had to tone down the sex and violence to get it into a movie.
Oh.
Too intense for an actual movie.
Exactly.
David brings up a good point. The lawsuits sideline Bond after the Dalton era. They had all kinds of lawsuits.
ownership rights, and
Oh, forget that. Yeah. This
And
is
then,
why we couldn't have Blofeld in the movie forever. Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
and then when it finally got finalized, they offered it back to Dalton, but he's like, I'm kind of over it. So
They needed a fresh start at that point anyway, and
I went back and rewatched those recently. They're actually they're better than I remembered, especially Living Daylights.
You know what's interesting? You can find this out online, but apparently they had 2 more Bond treatments ready for Dalton after License to Kill, and they never got made into movies. Maybe they should reuse those treatments. But one of them was going to be about who Bond when he was starting out, who trained James Bond, right? And like his first time out in Spy. And another one I think was going to take place in Japan. It was going to be another Japan expedition. I don't know if it was going to involve him versus
Property
an
of a
assassin
Lady, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it would have been neat. And I'm telling you, maybe they should, if they bring Bond back, maybe they could use those treatments, or just maybe don't work on the screenplay as you're filming the movie. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'll be good.
Yeah.
I'll be good.
If we ever do Quantum of Solace, we can talk about why you should have a script in place first.
Oh man. Okay.
It's usually a good idea.
Yeah. Good. Are there any soundtracks, Birdman, where they start playing before they've finished writing it? Like, does John Williams ever started
He wrote JFK with no
in
picture.
the middle of it says, "Hey, we're going to finish writing this"?
Well, he did do JFK with no picture.
Oh, there you go. I didn't know that.
He wrote a whole bunch of suites, and then he just gave it to Oliver Stone, and then what you hear in the movie was created in the editing booth.
All right.
All right. Well, I have mine queued up right where Pierce Brosnan has his gun pointing and the red is starting to come down. So when you start it, if you can let me know when you hit that.
I'll let you know when we get to that. Yeah. Red just starting to come down. Okay.
Yep.
I just got the MGM Lion. That cool, Boomer?
That's fine. I'll pause it there.
Okay.
That's where give me 1 second. I'll get it. Okay. Now I got the line. Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, play.
Okay. I'll let you know as soon as I start seeing the blood.
Thanks.
United Artists.
Yeah, you don't see that anymore.
No, I miss it. I miss United Artists. Many a great movie was released with them. Okay, here we go. James Bond theme music playing. Why is this muted? I can listen to this. All right, he's going to shoot, and blood.
Awesome.
Blood everywhere, all over the screen. It's just.
I think there was some Pauly Shore show where they had him, like his character was going to be in a movie, and it was like James Bond, except he's like, the blood's coming down, and he's trying to get out of the blood's way. It's just stupid, but.
And this was the 4th highest movie at the box office that year, by the way.
How was it? What was the highest?
Titanic, $2.2 billion. Lost World, $618 million. Men in Black, $587. Then Tomorrow Never Dies at $339.
I'll tell you a great movie that came out that year, L.A. Confidential. I remember because that should have won Best Picture over Titanic.
Okay.
And honestly, all of Pierce Brosnan's opening credit scenes, pre-credit scenes, they're all terrific. They're great.
They are. This is the best, though.
It's a good one.
I like Goldeneye.
My favorite reopening scene for Brosnan is probably World Is Not Enough.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think that is that the longest one, at least until this last Daniel Craig one.
Might be, yeah. Well, I just like the fact that you sort of get to see MI6 a little bit, because normally you don't get to see it, but like he's just going in there after mission and it's like normal. And you even see Q working on something in the lab, it's like day to day. And I thought that was neat. You get to see that. And then of course the big terrorist thing happens to the MI6 and they have to, he has to go after the woman assassin. And I think it's a great intro. I'll say this. I do cut Die Another Day slack. I know a lot of people hate it, but
that's terrible. It's terrible. If you told me that one was your least the least favorite, I couldn't argue with you.
No, View to a Kill. Come on. I mean, at least. Well, we'll get to Die Another Day someday, so we'll save it
No,
for
we
then.
won't. No, we won't.
Anyway, I like this little thing because we're not even seeing Bond yet. We're just seeing
Birdman,
No.
you don't want to break down Madonna's.
Anyway, so this actor, let me find out who he is. The one who's always he's a BBC actor I've seen in tons of things. Let me see. Yeah, Jeffrey Palmer. I think that's his name.
I
And
love. I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish.
he'll show up on a lot of Doctor Who episodes or other BBC shows. You've seen him, yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to say I love Judi Dench.
Did y'all know that they're going to reference From Russia with Love here in a couple of minutes in the score?
Oh,
Yep.
Which that is a criminally underrated one.
Oh yeah, it's great. The trouble is, Goldeneye came right. I'm sorry, not Goldeneye. Goldfinger came right after it, and then suddenly that's where Bond really blows up. But those first two are solid Bond entries. I'm never gonna say anything bad about From Russia with Love. In fact, its little pre-credit thing sequence is neat because you see Bond in the maze, right? Or is it Bond? But it's.
Yeah, I don't remember if we were talking about it here or if it was in the green room, but my IMAX has been showing the Bond films.
Yeah.
They showed 6 weeks of Bond, so they showed one from each of the James Bond. And I saw On Her Majesty's Secret Service for the first time on the big screen. That is a terrific. I'd forgotten just how terrific that one is. And I really wish that they could have worked it out with George Lazenby. But that is just a terrific story, and the ending. I mean, it affected me. I knew it was coming, and it's still. I mean that last line that he says, "We have all the time in the world," while he's holding her, and I mean, I'm like, that is just terrific.
I couldn't have seen Connery in that part. I could have seen Roger Moore maybe doing that movie, but Lazenby was fine. I think Lazenby, the British press went after him, and I'm not saying his actions were perfect, but I think he was being set up to fail in a way, and I don't think that was right. I thought he did fine enough. I do have a couple issues with it, mainly when they overdub his voice when he's posing as that professor, and they use someone else's voice, and it's like he wasn't even aware they did that. That was just kind of dumb. But other than that, though, they're some of the best action sequences I've ever seen in a Bond movie, especially for something made in '69, and they're amazing. I mean, it's anyway. But it's like this time. Go ahead.
You're all right there. You're breaking up.
Now that Beretta is going to transform into a Brian Highpower here in the next scene, just like that.
But this opening scene, I mean. All the Pierce, I think I said all the Pierce Brosnan ones are great, and I remember in the theater watching this, I was like, oh, this is going to be a great movie. With the opening scene, the way that it plays out like this, it shows Bond being action oriented, but also heroic and self-sacrificing, and he's doing this for the country. He knows he's probably going to die, but he does it anyway, and just
he also looks like he's having fun though.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you get the chance to fly that airplane, that'd be kind of fun. And of course, obviously, we're going to get to the Bond girls pretty soon. They got some good Bond girls in this one. Oh, Boomer drop out again?
He did. And David brings up the good point. Vic Armstrong is the second unit director for this.
Do you have a favorite opening pre-credit scene?
Probably this one.
This one?
Yeah. This one gets the most playtime as far as soundtracks go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess he's only said one line so far.
Yeah.
When he gives that guy a cigarette, what does he say? Filthy habit or something? That was the big thing back then. Do you remember? It was, oh no, is Bond going to smoke or not? And are you taking away his masculinity if he doesn't smoke? Are you taking away the essence of Bond? I'm like, he just doesn't smoke anymore. Big deal.
Yeah.
I think we can all get over that. But yeah, no, this is, I mean, it's great. It's action oriented and just a lot of fun. In that, the way that it goes into the score at the end, I guess we're still, well, they still got to do the plane sequence. But yeah, no, it just really good, really well done. And it's a good way to show who James Bond is. I don't even know. Have you ever said, what is your favorite Bond score? Do you have one from a movie?
I can break it down by composer. I like this one from David Arnold for the Pierce Brosnan movies. I like Casino Royale for the Daniel Craig movies from David Arnold. I like Skyfall from Thomas Newman. I think that's the most adult score. I like A View to a Kill and Living Daylights from John Barry.
Yeah.
I think I like both of those equal. Although I think Living Daylights is probably a better score than View to a Kill, but View to a Kill is just fun to listen to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that they have kind of gotten away from those in the Craig ones. They don't overemphasize it as much as they have done in previous movies. I'm trying to think. I mean, other than Skyfall, I don't really remember Casino Royale that much for the score. But other than Skyfall, I don't really. I mean, not anything from Spectre. I don't remember anything from
Spectre's the complete retread from Skyfall, and I hate to say that because I adore Thomas Newman, but it's really just like, oh, you just kind of like put Skyfall on repeat for Spectre.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what it was, but they learned all the wrong lessons from Skyfall when they made Spectre. Like everything that they kind of tweaked a little bit, that kind of brought it into modern time, they just kind of forgot in that. But and other thing that I noticed when I've been rewatching these, the pre-title sequence with while they're playing the score, they got a lot better for Pierce Brosnan. The GoldenEye one is great. I really love Tomorrow Never Dies. No,
this is not the original song that they had intended.
Is it not?
No.
What did they intend?
The end credit song by Katie Lang Surrender, that was the original opening credit song.
Oh.
It got shelved at like the last moment because they thought Sheryl Crow was more marketable than Katie Lang. And honestly, she probably was at the time. But the Surrender song is a far superior song, and it is worked into the entirety of the score. The music for this song is not in the score, but the Surrender song is throughout the score.
I never knew that. So yeah,
it's a much better Bond song than what this is. I like this song, don't get me wrong, but it is not that Katie Lang song at all.
But I do love the pre-title or the title sequences with all the the typical James Bond of showing all the images and stuff of and kind of foreshadowing and everything. I think that the Brosnan era, I'm forgetting the name of the guy that did all of them at the moment, but I think that they're excellent. They're a lot of fun, and I think that they're really well done, and a lot of care and thought go into them. Because you kind of get toward the Roger Moore era, and they seem a little bit lazier.
Yeah,
and these though are top notch.
Hello. Sorry.
Duran Duran did a song for this that got rejected.
Oh, really?
The Cardigans did a song that got rejected. Mark Allman did a song that got rejected. Some group called Saint Utini did a song and got rejected. There was a lot of songs for this movie that got rejected.
What did they just put out? Hey, anybody who wants to submit one, or did they ask a whole bunch of people, please submit something?
I don't know if people just submitted them or if they were contracted out, but they all just got turned down flat.
Well, in the end, you only have one movie. You got to pick one.
True. But that Katie Lake song is much better than the Sheryl Crow song. It's got like the same intensity of You Know My Name from Chris Cornell. And she's just got like the ballsy voice of Cheryl Bassey.
Oh.
I'll have to look for that song.
Well, it's going to be on the end credits, so it's coming.
Yeah, You Know My Name. I think that one's underrated too.
Yeah.
I don't remember particularly liking it when I first saw Casino Royale, but it's definitely grown on me.
That's the only decent Daniel Craig era Bond song.
You don't like the Adele one?
It's a far distant second, and the others just all fucking suck equally.
Yeah.
Just horrible.
Yeah, who did Spectre? I forget who did Spectre.
Oh no, that was the worst one.
That one was-
I don't know if it was the worst. I'd say Quantum of Solace.
No, I disagree because I at least like Jack White and Alicia Keys as singers. I mean, come on, but
I mean, they did a good job.
okay, but I'm just saying I've heard. Okay,
Can we all agree that Billie Eilish just sucks?
well, I don't even remember her song, so that says that. But yeah, I'm just thinking of all these great artists that had their songs rejected. Yet Billie Eilish is. I don't know. What can you do? Oh, here we go. We have the villains, huh?
Yeah.
I one thing I love about the Brosnan era are all these little paramilitary groups working for these private enterprises, you know, and they always have like the black armor on them, you know.
Well, you know, if you're going to run an evil organization, you want to save money on the uniforms. Just get them in one color.
I have to say that's one thing that's charming about the old Connery Bond movies. The bad guy uniforms for the organizations, like especially at the beginning of Diamonds Are Forever, it almost looks like they have like pointed helmets on. It's or like those old German style helmets. It's just
Yeah, I always remember Thunderball when they did the end sequence where everybody shows up to say Bond, and they have that music going, and I think the good guys were in red and the bad guys were wearing yellow, or maybe it's the other way around.
Or it was, I'm not sure. Was it
Underwater.
blue or yellow? Oh, Underwater. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, Thunderball. See, people think big movies only happened in the 70s, but no. With those Bond movies, they were increasing the budgets early on with each one. They were going big for the time, and and then I think. After Diamonds Are Forever, they pared it down a bit, and then until we got The Spy Who Loved Me. And it doesn't mean that Live and Let Die or Man with the Golden Gun are bad movies. I rather like, especially like Man with the Golden Gun, but
I think they were
scaled back. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was it on Her Majesty's Secret Service. I think that one didn't do well, and so they were scared about switching. That's why they brought Connery back for one more, and then they weren't. You know, can we do this by having Roger Moore do this? And you know, Roger Moore was a TV star. He wasn't a movie star.
No, I did. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, so they were taking a chance on him. They didn't know if it was going to work or not.
Well, they had wanted him for a bit. I know that he couldn't get it. They were I think they were originally thinking of him to replace Connery, but then they. I'm still here, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. My internet's been going. I noticed Birdman went away for a sec, but they originally wanted Roger Moore for Bond, but they couldn't because he was tied to the Saint at that time. And it's funny because the same thing happened with Pierce Brosnan. They were going to get him for Remington because he was on Remington Steele, and then Remington Steele's ratings got up because people thought he was going to be the next Bond, so then they couldn't use him for Living Daylights.
Yeah.
So that was what happened then. So,
which I think that in the end, I think that was best for Brosnan. I think this era is much better than the Dalton era.
Yeah, he defines the 90s Bond. He's the 90s Bond. And I remember when I forgot which Bond movie, but Roger Ebert said, this is the first time since Connery I think I'm seeing James Bond, which I think is a bit of disservice to the other Bonds. I think Roger Moore gets maligned. I think it was his era was. I mean, it was the 70s. That was a hard transition for Bond, but
Yeah.
I think they made the best of it. Yeah.
I think what Roger Moore did 7. I think the first 3 he was kind of playing Bond, and then in the last ones he started playing the parody of the Bond. Maybe not.
Right.
Maybe 4. I'd put in For Your Eyes Only. He was doing Bond also.
Yeah.
But the other 3, I mean, clearly A View to a Kill. That is a parody. That could have been
bad.
Austin Powers. That's how that one was such a parody.
Yeah, it's not a good movie. And what was it? Yeah, For Your Eyes Only. I think that was the last one they based on a Fleming novel, right? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And then these, actually, I know at least GoldenEye was based on a story by after Fleming died. They've had different authors do books. GoldenEye was based on one of those books.
Interesting. Yeah. Raymond Benson, is that the author's name that did those?
I think they've had like 5 or 6 different ones. I know the last book that they did came out in like 2018.
I think they should go back to those. I think maybe they should start adapting those books into movies, maybe.
Yeah.
That might be the better way to go. Because originally I thought when they started over with Casino Royale that they were just going to go, we're going to start with the first Bond novel. And I thought they were going to do the Bond novels again in order and to make the movies more true to the books. But that isn't what they ended up doing. Because clearly Daniel Craig was a reboot of the series. But, this is harsh.
Yeah, they're not very nice people.
No, this is.
Yeah, they're not into casualties or taking prisoners.
They're not Bond villains unless you hate them. I mean, I think the least hateable was Scaramanga because I sort of respected him on some level, but like these guys, no. Oh. And I did I'm sorry, I got cut out because my power went out. But I liked how they set up this villain in the beginning of the movie with the at the terrorist expo.
Yeah, they did. I like this. I think a lot of people think that Elliot Carver isn't all that great of a villain, but I think he is. I mean, he's clearly a parody of Rupert Murdoch.
Mm-hmm.
But I think also the supporting villains, which aren't always up to par. I think they are.
Stamper's very good henchman material.
Yeah.
Dr. Kaufman's just creepy.
Yep. But yeah, even the guy who's at the expo, I thought he played it, and I'm forgetting what the guy's name is though, but he's like a famous magician too. He's an actor magician.
He is. That's right. In fact, he showed up. I don't know if he showed up on an X-Files or I've seen him on like TV shows too, and he's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's he's solid too.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be tortured by Stamper.
No. And Jonathan Pryce, you don't like when he says delicious. It's like. Here we go. You just hate all of these people he's talking to as well on the video screen. When he was going to change the word from British soldiers killed to murder, I thought he was going to say massacred. I thought that's what he was going to write down. It's like...
Well, I love the. We'll see it in a second, but the headline from The Empire Strikes Back.
The Empire Will Strike Back. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I laughed out loud in the theater when that came up.
Yes, I've gotten many of the Bond scores. I still have yet to get the Brosnan scores, but they're on my docket. I'll pick them up at some point. There is no news like bad news. Yes.
I've got all of them but GoldenEye. I haven't been able to bring myself to buy GoldenEye.
Do you not like GoldenEye?
He don't like it because it's a weird score. It's an experimental.
No one really likes it, to be honest.
I don't hate it, but again,
But you played the video game a lot.
yeah, and
And
oddly
I would
enough,
say if it wasn't for the video game, you would probably like, I don't, what the hell is this?
but
Tell me.
the thing with the video game, it came out in Nintendo 64. Nintendo 64 couldn't really do CD quality audio. It could do like MIDI music. So they were able to make a score that sounded a lot similar to what you heard in that movie. So for the game, so it sort of echoes that, and plus I have listened to electronic scores. I grew up on the old Doctor Who series, which always had electronic scores to it. Electronic scores can work. But I get how people wanted the more classic Bond themes. I get that. I think it was an experiment. They figure new Bond, new era. Let's try something new with the soundtrack. So, I get why people don't like it. I'm just saying I don't mind it. To be fair though, I don't think I've ever listened to it from start to finish without the movie. So maybe I changed my mind. Here we go. What's Bond doing there, huh?
It's called intercourse, Boomer. It's when a man and a woman come together.
I thought they were learning
babies.
Danish. He said they were learning Danish. That's the internet.
Well, you can do other things like intercourse. You can watch TV, play video games, eat food.
Yeah, I don't remember
Okay.
this part in the video game.
No. Though apparently in the video game of this movie that came out for the PlayStation 1, the line pumper for information is used in the game as well. Okay.
Which I don't remember. I don't think any of the future Bond games really ever matched GoldenEye, which was always a disappointment. I don't know why you weren't able to recapture that.
World is Not Enough came kind of close because they got Eurocom to make it, but they made it as a first-person shooter. And it wasn't as good as GoldenEye, but it was close. They were at least attempting. Later on with the next systems, they went in a different direction. They didn't make them first-person shooters. They did make one based on From Rush's Love, and they got Connery to do the voice, which was kind of funny because I think Connery was at this point older at this point. So
107?
what? Yeah, I don't know. He was older when that game came out, and it's an older sounding Connery, but in the young Bond body in the game. It's funny, but they really played up Spectre in that game too. Like you're trying to save the Prime Minister's daughter from Spectre in the beginning of the game before it even goes into the. But I gave him points for they actually said it in the '60s and everything. But it was no GoldenEye though. But it was fun for what it was. Is this supposed to be the Prime Minister right here?
No, it's just a.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm glad that they pumped up Judi Dench's role and made her a far more integral part of the Bond mythology than the past M's.
Yeah, well, because it was a big thing. It's like you have a female M this from now on. She's calling him a sexist, misogynist dinosaur, blah blah, in the last movie. But you grow to love Judi Dench in this series. She, even in, and I think this movie is the one that really helps with that too. And
Yeah, and now, obviously, the world is not enough. Kind of establishes a more activist M
right
in the world, which I think even Ralph Fiennes has kind of taken that up too.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, she gets very angry because her friend from school gets murdered in the beginning of that movie, and on her own turf.
Yeah,
that made her furious. Yeah. Boy, I do miss Brosnan. I'm fine with people who think he's their favorite Bond. I get it. He was the Bond I grew up with.
I like Timothy Dalton.
Yeah. Dalton's underrated. I'll say that. Dalton didn't do as many quips though. That was more of a.
He was a cold-blooded killer.
Yeah. Because I think they didn't want to make that Bond as funny because maybe they're trying to get away from Roger Moore. So, but I think Brosnan he does the quips. Though they miss a wonderful opportunity for a great joke that they didn't do, and I'm mad at the movie for. There's a scene where he knocks a guy into the printing presses, and blood gets sprayed all over the printing presses, and the paper's coming out, right?
Yeah.
Bond says, they'll put anything in the papers these days. No, the joke should have been, what's black and white and red all over? Come on.
Yeah, come on, Boomer.
No one's
Come on.
laughing at that. Okay.
No one's
No,
laughing at
come
that.
on, because that's the joke.
No.
It's black and white and red all over newspaper. Because it's literally red all over. Just never mind. Okay. I thought it would have been funny if he had said that. That's
It
all.
would not be funny.
I keep thinking there's an alternate take where he said that, and they think it would have.
12 out of 5 test audiences said that was not
Said
funny.
that was not funny. Use the other line instead. Yeah, I'm sure. But here we got Germany, huh? I like Bond movies. What I love about Bond movies, we go all over the world, right?
Yeah, this one this is the first one where we kind of go to. Does he go to Hong Kong at all in any of the past one? I'm trying to think.
I want to say he did in Man with the Golden Gun because I don't think he was in mainland China in that. I don't know because they were playing with the kung fu in the movie. He might have gone to Hong Kong in that one.
Okay. I was thinking that was Taiwan, but it might not have been.
It might have been Taiwan. I don't know. It was. But I remember
Desmond Llewellyn. Yeah.
You always smile when you see him pop up in a Bond movie. Even in GoldenEye, which was kind of serious for especially coming out of you're thinking this is
the last Bond movie right here.
Yeah,
no, he's all through the Brosnan era.
No, I don't think he shows up in Die Another Day. I think he died.
Is that?
That's John Cleese.
Oh, that's right, John Cleese.
He introduced as John Cleese in the next movie, which was smart that they were setting up a replacement Q. Even though they could have probably just had them both be in them if Lewin had survived. But I think since he didn't.
I think he was, when he died, it was a car accident.
It was.
He was 87 or 89 or something like that.
Wow.
He was in the backseat of a car that was in an accident. And yeah.
He first shows up in From Russia with Love.
Yeah, he wasn't in the first one.
He wasn't the first one, but he shows up. Here's Q Branch giving you some materials, and he doesn't really say anything. He just gives the material, but he seems fine. And then when you get to Goldfinger, he has his taciturn thing, and I'm assuming it's because on the last mission from Russia with Love, Bond damaged the equipment.
Yeah,
and that's what set this whole thing off. Yeah,
I kind of lost confidence in Bond.
Yeah, so he was probably fine with him at the very beginning. It's like, 008 didn't have any problems with my equipment. You rarely get to see other 00 agents in these movies, but it's funny, the scene in Thunderball where they showed all the 00 agents because the big one, this is the big one because the nuclear weapon's been stolen. Apparently, in one of the still shots, one of the 00s was a woman. Even back in the 60s, you could see it was a woman. But
women usually make fine spies. Just saying.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Well, I mean, you had Triple X. She was pretty good.
Oh yes, Barbara Bach.
I think I would have told her all of my secrets.
Oh man, I love British and European cinema of the 60s and 70s. And I love how when you watch I Love Me, then you watch other movies from the era and you see Barbara Bach and what's her name? I forget her name. The one who was the Russian woman who wasn't Russian, but she would show up and stuff too. But
yeah, we haven't even mentioned Terry Hatcher yet.
Yeah, this was after Lois and Clark, right?
Yeah, that's where I developed my crush on her.
Yeah,
I've never cared for her.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
You need a minute?
No,
it's all right.
Her, I don't. I just never cared for her.
I think she's a nice looking lady myself.
She's always kind of struck me as being kind of bossy.
She played Lois Lane.
Okay,
she's gonna come off as bossy. I mean, I don't know if this. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I actually remember her from an episode of MacGyver. She did a few episodes of MacGyver.
Oh, that's right. She was in with his arch nemesis, right?
Yeah, I forget his name, but she played like an old girlfriend or something of his and of MacGyver's, and so she was in a few episodes. That's where I first remember her, and then seeing her on Lois and Clark.
Here we have Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah, she's attractive.
Oh, it's funny because I always wondered when we were going to get if Jackie Chan would ever guest star in these. And of course, we do get to see a Pierce Brosnan Jackie Chan movie later on with The Foreigner that came out a few years back. But you get the leading lady of Hong Kong cinema right here at the time. This is Michelle Yeoh, and it's neat seeing her in this. I remember seeing her in Super Cop with Jackie Chan. I actually went to theater to see
I've never
that.
actually seen that movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. But it's neat seeing her in this. Yeah, she still looks great as far as I'm concerned too. I'm sad she's stuck on Star Trek Discovery, but here we go. Got the slap. How about the words? I'll be right back. That was in the trailer. I don't know that this hair is flattering on her. What do you think? I think I like her with the longer hair, or even the bob cut. But
Yeah, probably.
I think this makes her look a little older. I still think she looks great, but I just don't know if it's the most flattering haircut.
I never know if that guy's wearing like a newsprint jacket. That's quite tacky.
Yeah, well,
You know, I have seen this movie several times. I don't think I've ever noticed that.
I never noticed it either, but good for pointing it out, Birdman. That was that's awful. You're right, and I think it just goes with Elliot Carver. You don't
I'm
like
sure
the
it's all
guy.
his newspapers printed all over it.
Oh, I'm
That's
sure. Like the best-selling papers. Make sure you pick the best-selling articles and put them all on the shirt. And Elliot Carver, you despise. He's like the boss you hate that you end up working for, right? It's just he's doing a horrible thing. I think he's trying to provoke
Yes,
a war.
Boomer, he is doing a horrible thing. Completely.
He's trying to provoke a war between the United Kingdom and mainland China for the sake of selling papers. I think that's
Sure,
what he's
that
trying
would
to
pull
do.
in the United States and probably most of NATO.
Yeah, world wars sell a lot of newspapers. Ha ha ha. That's a typical Bond villain thing starting World War III, right?
That was who was the old newspaper baron who started the Spanish
William
Randolph Hearst.
There you
Yes. Oh, I learned about history class. Really terrible. That's where the term yellow journalism came from. It's like, hey, kid, lie down in the ditch. So it makes it look like they shot you over there in Spain. The Spanish shot you. You know, it's like, come on.
And speaking about like tuxedos, he's wearing a Midnight Navy Baroni tuxedo, and Neiman Marcus had that exclusively available at their stores.
Okay.
And it was $5,000 back in 1997.
So how many did you buy?
I could not afford one at the time. And honestly, I probably would. Well, I mean, with inflation, it's probably like, 10 or 15 now. But
it's a sharp suit, though, man. You could look like.
It was very pretty. I tore the page ad out of GQ magazine, and I still have it somewhere because it was gorgeous. I wanted to buy one. Don't get me wrong. I just couldn't afford $5,000.
We have Jonathan Pryce, another great actor. I remember him from Brazil, Terry Gilliam.
And Big Al says Terry Hatcher was 3 months pregnant when she made this film.
Interesting. She looks great.
Who got her pregnant, Big Al? I know it wasn't me.
Okay, well.
Just saying.
Okay.
I don't find her attractive.
No, I don't get that at all. I'm sorry. She. I mean, we've had a lot of great Lois Lanes, and she's one of the great Lois Lanes. She looks like how you would expect Lois Lane to look, I think. My favorite Lois Lane is still the one from Smallville, though. Erica Durance.
Erica Durance, yeah.
Yeah, I do like her. But no, Terry Hatcher's nice. No. I pick on her hair. It's actually not that bad. Yeah. Go ahead. What you're saying, Birdman?
I hear she's not a nice person in real life.
Well, okay. You know what? I'm sorry, but if I based every movie.
Okay.
Whoa.
Amber Heard. Very attractive, but I wouldn't touch her with a 50-foot pole.
Yeah. Well, there are some people who get less attractive the more you get to know them.
That's true.
So she starts out at Amber Heard, Terry Hatcher start out at a very high level, and then maybe as you get to know them, they become less and less attractive. Certainly Amber Heard. But yeah, that's as much as I like this movie, but the kind of the premise of the bad guy. I'm going to rule the world through newspapers and media. I'm going to be. It just doesn't seem like this is maybe this is just single O material and not double O material that need to go after this guy.
I mean, they really could have just like taken him out pretty easily. Just send someone with a sniper rifle from across the street.
Well, I assume they have to prove he's up to no good, right? They just can't, they have to prove, they have to find out what the plans are. They're not just.
Yeah, obviously he's planning a singular event that they have to go after, but
like it's possible.
It's just
like
not there.
Like at this point, does Bond know it's Mr. Carver? Could just be a bad egg in the organization too, Carver, yeah, I may not like the guy, but he's not the
but
guy.
He does dress like a supervillain, though, so that
he acts like a supervillain.
Actually,
or does he act like a supervillain or just a multimedia giant? Okay, I mean, what's the difference, right?
In this scene, he looks like Tim Cook.
Do I want to say it's a weak Bond villain? I don't know. You know what?
It's an average.
I just want to
be average.
I just want to have fun. That's what I want. When I go see a Bond movie, I want to see fun. I don't want to feel like I'm going to a funeral for the character. I said that before I saw the last movie. Anyway,
the only one that I don't own on video on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I even broke down. I even broke down and got Spectre because there was a slot in the Blu-ray set for Spectre. I'm like,
That's
what?
exactly why I got it too. You got
we both got tricked.
Yeah,
we both got tricked because you wanted to get them on Blu-ray.
Yeah,
and and it's like the slot out for Spectre. Like, well, they're going to have it cheap on Black Friday. Come on, just wait till then. It'll fill in the slot. It's funny. I ended up with an empty DVD case I didn't need, so I think I used it as a spare or something. Because it's like.
Well, I got the 50th anniversary Blu-ray when it came out that had all of the movies, but Spectre hadn't come out yet.
Yes, I got the same one
for Spectre, so they left one open.
And I have to give them points. They never do that. Like when I got the old Bond sets, there wasn't a space for Die Another Day because that wasn't out yet. So I had to be the lone Bond movie on the DVD shelf away from the box sets.
I did wait until Spectre came down to $9.99 before I actually bought it.
Yeah,
that was not a full priced.
No, it was not. I think I got it when it was on sale, and I had a $5 Best Buy coupon I had to use. I was okay. I'll use it now and use it on, and I'll pick it up at the store. And still, just it had a good pre-sequence. I did like the pre-sequence in Mexico. That was good, but yeah. And they cast the right actor to play Blofeld. I just don't know what went wrong there. I like this though. Like you're seeing Bond there. What's he waiting for, huh?
Yeah.
I think he's waiting for some goons to come and take him out, right? And
I do think that that kind of waiting to me, that's more like what Spy does. So it kind of plays into, hey, that's his job because it is. You wait, you kind of hang back until you're ready to spring into action. So I kind of like it.
He says, "Not to me, it doesn't." That's like, is that a euphemism? Like you can't perform in certain areas or something? It's.
I can't figure out what attracted her to him.
You're right. And I'm sure Jonathan Pryce is plenty charming in real life, but his character in this is just, maybe when he was younger, he's rich.
He's very rich.
So maybe that.
Very rich.
I don't get it. I don't know how old Terry Hatcher was at the time of this. I guess in her 30s at this point, maybe. I remember her on the Seinfeld episode. She was on Seinfeld once.
Yeah. And Hugo Drax was a weak Bond villain, but he did have, I think, one of the best Bond villain lines.
Which one was that?
He was talking to his flunky, and he goes, follow Mr. Bond and make sure some harm comes to him. I always like that line.
Yeah, it reminds me of something Blofeld said once. Make sure in From Russia with Love, he says, make sure his death is a painful and humiliating one. That's what he says, because that was the second Bond movie, and already he's pissed at James Bond. It's before he knew who he was. You just saw the silhouette, but here we go. What's going to happen here?
Yeah, I don't remember the scene in any video game either.
Yeah,
Has every Bond movie had a video game?
No. They don't even.
I don't even think there are any Daniel Craig ones.
There are, but there are, because they remade GoldenEye, the game. Well, they
remade it
with Daniel Craig in it instead of Pierce Brosnan, but it wasn't a remake of the GoldenEye game. But they were able to use the movie license, so that allowed them to recreate some of the same levels, because the levels from the original game were based on the movie sets. Because they actually sent the rare people down there. It's all right. It's still not the original 64 game, but I think they were doing their best to. But it's Daniel Craig in the part. And no Sean Bean as 006 either. So it got some other actor. And then they did some game where it was like James Bond's Greatest Adventure sort of thing. And they redid levels from Moonraker, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, I think Goldfinger, but they all have Daniel Craig in them.
Well,
like doing the acting in those, like, I don't know if he was there with Honor Blackman. I didn't play that one, but like in Goldfinger, it's like, what are you doing? It's like,
I don't want to see that. I don't want to play that.
No, it was weird.
Let me choose. Give me a Daniel Craig or a Pierce Brosnan or Sean Connery.
They should just base them on the movies. I've heard people do mods on GoldenEye. They did one for Spy Who Loved Me, so it was Roger Moore. I mean, they could, and I know when you played multiplayer in the old games, you got to choose either Dalton, Brosnan, Connery, or Moore as your avatars in the multiplayer. But I don't know. This stuff costs money.
Yeah.
Here we go, though.
Her underwear looks way too complicated for me.
Not too complicated for 007.
It's got all these straps and buckles, and then I'm just like, well, what the hell?
No underwear is too complex for James Bond.
He's
tons of field work.
I like that, though. He's got a perfect employment record, which means government agent. So he's actually probably the better villain, the hacker guy here. You know, he's. Didn't he say he used to do? He was one of those underground, like weather underground types, I think they said, or something. I think that was mentioned earlier on.
60s radical or whatever they call them.
Yeah, now turned corporate sellout. Yeah,
I think we call them hippies.
Yes. Okay. Well, I think we should set an appointment for my wife with the doctor. One thing I'll say, you do need your Bond villains just to be plain old evil. You know? Just no remorse, just. And you're wondering, what do they mean by the doctor?
That's one of the things that are kind of missed from all movies now. Want to make the villain, but you see the Marvel movies, they all want to have some sort of complex background and the reason why, they're this way. It's like some people just want to grow up and rule the world.
Yeah. Like, I think the only time I saw that in one of the Obama movies was when Dr. No was giving his little speech. How he was the son of a German missionary and a Chinese girl of good standing. So he was rejected by both the West and the East.
Yeah.
And
which was greatly parodied in Austin Powers.
Oh,
That is a great speech. That is so funny.
Yeah, his whole tragic story, the son of a Belgian lingerie salesman and all that stuff. Like he's telling it at like a therapy group led by Carrie Fisher. Oh no. I used to work for a newspaper, and I have to tell you, those press rooms, you'd better be very careful walking around in them. Okay. You will there. You always heard stories of people losing hands and stuff. Oh
wow!
Yeah, I was pre-press, not press, but I knew of that department. Here we go. Is that Michelle Yeoh up there, or is that Bond? That's Bond. Okay.
Do either one of y'all have the soundtrack for this film?
No, in fact, I was going to ask you about that. Is there? I know they did re-releases of a lot of the older Bond scores, and they put like music cues they didn't use. Did Tomorrow Never Dies get that same treatment? Because I wasn't sure if the Brosnan was as.
La La Land has done The World Is Not Enough and Die Another Day deluxe editions, but they haven't done any others yet. There was the first release of the soundtrack that came out with the film. It's pretty much missing everything past the car chase, because the way the film was scored, David Arnold got bits and pieces, and he was working on them because the production was behind, and he didn't get to just do it all at once. He had to do it piecemeal. And when they went to release the soundtrack, it's like, well, we'll put what we got on it, and that's what you got. So it's missing like the second half of the movie, which is annoying. But Japan, like 3 years later, released this guy that's got most of the score, but it doesn't have the two songs. So no Sheryl Crow, no Katie Lang, and it's missing one track that you can get on the first release. So there is no definitive release. I paid like $20-$25 for this a couple years ago.
That's not bad for a Japanese CD.
Yeah, well, now this is like about $80.
Yeah, because they usually go for more anyway over there.
I priced it before the show because I was wondering if this was still, reasonable. But if you want this, it's going to be about $80. Mm-hmm. Someone's got the whole thing on YouTube, though, if you want to listen to it.
Yeah, and because I know that they had gone to the trouble, I think, of everything up to Brosnan doing some decent, halfway decent CDs. I mean, I'm not going to say La La Land quality, but I do have a lot of them. Like
the Living Daylights has got a deluxe treatment. A License to Kill does not. And I think most of the others have been reissued and remastered. But there's never been like a definitive James Bond music collection. And I feel like that's just people really leaving money on the table. That's an easy sell. Yeah. Next time a movie comes out, I don't know if you want to do that in a box set. That'd be an awfully pricey box set. But
they should do it, or even do like a part 1 and a part 2 or something.
Or just do like Connery, more.
Yeah, that's what. Do like a Moore set or a Connery set. Yeah. That's a good idea.
And you can do Lazenby and Dalton in one set, and then Bronson and Craig.
There you go. That's an idea. People
can get 5 sets they want.
That's an idea. Ooh, I do like that. On Her Majesty's Secret Service soundtrack, I have. It has the Christmas song they wrote for the movie. Which I thought, I wonder if they
throws me off every time I'm like, why is there a Christmas song?
Oh no, and not only that, but it's not a great Christmas song, and I kept thinking they probably thought the movie would be hitting like this Christmas song would be a perennial favorite played every Christmas. No, like it would be like the next Rudolph or something. Rudolph. Here we have Michelle Yeoh.
David, do you have this version as well, or do you just have the original first issue?
I have to say, I don't know. I'm sure they offered Michelle Yeoh a stunt woman, and she says, "I do my own stunts." That's.
I think I would do my own stunts if I did this.
Actually, in Craig's defense, he did do a lot of his own stunts, which partially led to a lot of delays with the last movie because he kept getting into accidents. But
David, you can find this on YouTube. I will send you the link after the show so you can at least listen to it.
Yeah, presses are scary. I'll admit this. If you've ever been around a newspaper,
Well, not very many people are anymore.
yeah, because for a number of reasons, yeah. But back in 97, it's like, what's the internet? Oh, that's that thing. That's for the kids. You know? Ooh.
So would that have actually killed him, Boomer?
Probably. I mean, it's not. I mean, I don't know for certain, but I can buy it just because you can get ground up in those gears. But again, maybe it wouldn't have. Maybe the MythBusters. That's something the MythBusters should just do. Have they done James Bond movies on MythBusters? They should just do a whole James Bond thing on MythBusters. Would this have really killed him? He probably just would have lost a leg, you know. So. It's like every other Bond movie, some guy gets thrown into, gets ground up. It's some device.
Yeah. Well, that was in View to a Kill.
Yeah, it's also not a Master Secret Service. And
But not a
Lazenby
View to
says,
a Kill, License to Kill.
"Oh, really? Oh, yes! Shut the bloody machine off." I think she says, "I don't like." There's supposed to be a quip there, and he says, "Shut the bloody machine off." And
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh."
Big Al thinks MythBusters did do a Bond.
Oh, they did. I'll have to hunt it down. Okay. I know that underwater car, like a lot of the technology they use in these movies, I think are prototypes. Like I think they do exist. I don't know about the bionic eye in the last one, but maybe we won't talk about that. But like I know that the underwater car. I think it actually is underwater in those scenes, isn't it? In Spy Who Loved Me.
I think at one point in time they did a whole bunch of experiments to see if they could do it. I mean, I don't know what the practical effects are.
Yeah.
Hey, do I want just the land-based or do I need the land and sea-based car? The S version or whatever it is. But I think some of the stuff like the touch, it's probably key to him. So I mean those types of things. I think that those are future tech that could come about one day.
Yeah, is it me or is this movie seeming more advanced than what we have now in some respects? It's like I'm looking at that.
I don't have my remote control car yet.
No, yeah, I know. It's like
instead they drive themselves. I don't get to control it.
Oh, I miss the 90s.
Back when we only had to worry about acid rain.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Do either of y'all have a Walther PPK?
No, I do not. Do you have one?
I have the SIG version of the Walther.
Is it a decent gun or is it overrated?
If you got really big hands, when the slide comes back, it can like rip into your top part of your hand. So if you got really big hands, it's probably not the gun for you.
I'll say
it's a fine gun. I don't dislike it. Is it like worth $800? I'll buy something else for $800. Kind of where I'm at with it. I got the SIG. I think I paid $650 for it like 5 years ago. So now it's probably about an $800 or $900 gun. The SIG's got a decocker on it that I like. The grip's a little bit fatter. Other than that, it looks exactly the same as the Walther.
I think I'd rather save up my money and get an Aston Martin.
We have to save up a little bit more to get an Aston Martin.
I get the Python. Those guns are terrifying. What am I looking for here? Cast.
Although most of Pierce Brosnan's cars were BMWs, they switched the licensing over for a few movies. But man, those Sean Connery Aston Martins were pretty nice.
Yeah. I'd rather have one of the old ones than the newer ones.
Yeah. I always did like that about Skyfall when they brought back the the Goldfinger Aston Martin.
Mm-hmm.
That to me, that's the quintessential classic James Bond car.
Well, like I said, I felt with Skyfall, okay, we're finally getting over the hump. Because it'd been kind of dark up to that point, but it felt like by the end, okay, now we're going to get back to the Bond we've known, and here we are. And well, then they do a reversal in the next one. But at least up to that point, I thought, okay, everything's in place at new M. You got a new Q. You got Moneypenny. Everything's in place now. We're gonna and what do we got here though?
Well, I really liked Skyfall when it first came out. The more that I watch it, and the more that I see how it fits into the Bond universe, it's a great movie. It's not a great Bond movie.
No, yeah, I can see that, yeah.
Because Bond is not. I mean, he's an aging guy, and he's broken down and all this.
He never feels like he's in control in those movies. Brosnan's always in control. Every Bond always has something up his sleeve to get the bad guy, And
yeah, I mean, his era. I mean, started out wonderful with Casino Royale. I think that's one of the best Bond movies, and then they all just went downhill.
Yeah. What do we got here? Well, Quantum I cut slack to because I knew that was written during it, but they were afraid of a writer's strike. Holy cow, Gerard Butler is in this movie?
I didn't know that.
I'm looking at the cast here. I keep an eye out for him.
Must have been one of the henchmen.
Maybe. I'll keep an eye out for him. But where is... I think he's a sea captain at some point. I think that's what he's listed as. Trying to find out who this actor's name is. He was the organ grinder in Batman Returns. Hold on.
She was shot, right? Dr. Kaufman shot Terry Hatcher, right?
No, he was trying to make it look like was it a suicide? Or he's trying to make it look like Bond did it. What was he trying to make it look like? I forgot now. I glossed over.
A murder-suicide.
Okay, yes. Oh, that's right.
Did he shoot Paris or did he strangle her?
Maybe he was going to have her shooting him and then, I don't know. Maybe he actually, I will say this, Bond seemed genuinely upset that she was murdered. So. Yeah,
but he's so over it by now. He walked down those stairs and he's like,
Well, no, you have to be when you're a spy. You got to take yourself out of it or you're going to get killed, right? I mean.
You got to do your duty.
The one that really messed him up, though, of course, was
Vesper.
No, I'm thinking of the older movies. Vesper did mess him up, though, if I'm going by the books. No, in the Teresa.
Oh yeah,
that messed
on Her Majesty's Secret Service. Yeah. Diana Riggs.
They
great. Bond girl.
I can see by her performance and everything that's going on in the movie. I can see how he fell in love with her. And how he was ready to give everything up. I see it. Yeah. Because I told you, there's a scene where he's really low, and honestly, you in the audience think that Blofeld's henchmen are closing, that he's going to die. And then she just shows up on roller skates and ice skates and says, "Hey, can I help you?" And it's like... You like this, Birdman? This sequence?
Yeah, I was getting tired of touching it and it kept disappearing, but... So David, Moby did the James Bond theme for this soundtrack, and you said you wore it out. Which track do you like better, the car chase or the Moby track? I know what my preference is. If anyone can guess, you got a 50-50 shot.
Well, since I've heard you mention the soundtrack and not the Moby thing, I'm betting it's the soundtrack.
Yeah, I like the car chase better than the Moby track.
It's the BMW. The actor who does the celebrity, who does the deaths and makes them look like celebrity suicides, Vincent Schiavelli,
Yeah, he was in Ghost. Remember that?
Yes, I remember. He was the scary ghost. Yes, he was the... I liked how there are ghosts in there. How he's actually an example of the kind of ghost that would freak somebody out. If they saw him. He was.
There we go.
But yeah,
Yeah, he
Diana
said
Riggs.
he liked the car chase bit better too. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Diana. I think you can really judge a good Bond girl based on whether or not you could see Bond falling in love with her.
Yeah.
Like, so many of them are disposable and they're supposed to be for Bond.
Yeah.
But when you can see Diana Riggs and Bond, I mean, that they fall in love. When you see Ava Green and Daniel Craig, I mean, that I'd love that scene. You really, it's like, I can see Bond falling in love on screen. And I get it. Whereas, let's say Pierce Brosnan and Denise Richards, not so much.
Yeah, I don't think any of the Brosnan Bond women are like the kind you'd fall in love with. I'm even thinking back, like.
who was the girl in? Oh, Halle Berry. That's right.
Halle Berry.
I thought you were going to say Madonna.
Oh, stop!
I'm pretty sure Madonna was 65 when she made that movie.
Wow.
Is the car going to tip over? I want to see that car tip over. Oh, well.
Product placement?
Yeah, well, no, you're getting those in these. These movies are not cheap. And keep in mind, I did sort of still see these as family productions. I mean, they are British productions, and I know they had American distributors, but I did sort of see them as it's still the Broccoli family putting these out. I've had Cubby. I don't know if Cubby was still alive at this point.
I don't think so. I think
maybe I think it was Life for Goldeneye. That was it, right? I think Goldeneye was the last one.
I think that might have been the last one.
Joe Don Baker's back.
He was in The Living Daylights. He played Whitaker, the bad guy, and he was in Goldeneye. He played same character he's playing here. What?
Yeah. In fact, I do like how in the Brosnan movies you run into some of the same characters, like the Russian guy from Goldeneye that he runs into. I guess the criminal type. He runs into him again in World Is Not Enough. I think. Yeah. I like him though. Bond is in his full Navy uniform, right?
Yeah,
I keep forgetting he does come from the Navy originally, right? Yeah, the British Navy.
He achieved the rank of commander.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was always kind of the perfect Bond age. I think is you start when you're 35 and you end when you're 45.
Okay,
because
I was thinking. Go ahead.
I just think that James Bond is someone who has experience. He doesn't start out as 22 years old and inexperienced in spy stuff. He has some life behind him. And so I think 35 is about the right age.
Yeah, I might go as low as 30 or at least the early 30s. But I one thing I will say, I don't like it when you start getting into the 50 range.
Yeah.
I think at that point you do need to get a new actor. I mean, so like I said, some actors can pull it off better than those. I think Brosnan probably could have done one more after Die Another Day.
Yeah, I think so too.
But they were wrapping him up. Roger Moore admitted he was getting too old to be playing that. They kept wanting him to come back, but I think even in what do you call it? For Your Eyes Only, he thought he was getting to be a little too old to be romancing some of these younger women in it. I think I think they should have stopped with For Your Eyes Only with Moore. I think that might have been the place to stop with him.
I think you're right. I think as much as I like, who's the villain in the guy who plays the villain in A View to a Kill?
Yeah. Christopher Walken. Yeah.
Yeah, Christopher Walken. As much as I like him, and I like his performance. I mean, it's fun to watch. I don't think it's It's not a real. It's a parody of a Bond villain. It's not really a Bond villain.
Yeah, because the setup, you think Christopher Walken playing a certain German organization's genetic experiment fulfillment character. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can see that as a Bond villain, but the execution just was that, and of course, what's her name as the henchwoman? What do I always forget names?
That is Sergeant Powell. I hadn't realized that. Yeah.
So where is he going right now?
He's looking for the
Is he going into the mainland
The
China?
boat.
Is he going to Shanghai, or is he going to
Dropping into the ocean, my friend.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just wondering where he's going, because it would make sense if they're trying to sneak him over into mainland China, because right now things are tense anyway. Unless he's going to, I don't know.
But
So
honestly, I think if they had done a Michelle Yeoh spinoff, I think that would have been good.
Yeah, I think they had a great opportunity right there.
She's a wonderful leading lady. Like I said, kind of a queen of Hong Kong action cinema. She was in she little after this she did Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, right?
Yeah,
I think where she had to learn. I think that movie was all Mandarin, and she was a native Cantonese speaker. She had to learn a new language just for that part. It was another language from China, but no, wonderful actress.
I think they could have thrown like 50 to 65 million at a project for her and just kept it kind of more grounded. I think they would have done at least 150 on that.
Well, I think the main problem is that your hero is a Chinese agent. I
think that works. I mean, that works. That can work.
Back then, I had hopes that we knew Hong Kong was going back to the mainland, that Hong Kong might be a positive influence on that, because Hong Kong culturally it's funny looking at their cinema of the time, because it's almost like it's like our Hollywood cinema fast forwarding, because like you could see them gradually getting better, but faster. Do you understand? Like I mean, they were making movies in the early aughts that I like, House of Flying Daggers and Kung Fu Hustle, that were these huge tragedies and comedies on the big screen, but they were all very operatic with Kung Fu, but they usually went either tragic or comic route in the movies, and they were wonderful to watch. And I'm just and of course they had their crime movies as well. They did a lot of those, but here we go. You know what? It's her. Okay. Because I'm getting Thunderball flashbacks here, right?
Well,
underwater scenes must be tough to shoot too, right? I mean,
yeah.
I'm assuming that they did this one in a tank. They didn't go out onto the actual water.
I'm sure it's on the audio commentary. I have to say, early DVD, the Bond DVDs were like the gold standard of cool DVDs to own, like with special features, and they had these awesome menus that would start out, and you have this wonderful sultry British lady talking like, "Welcome to Tomorrow Never Dies special edition DVD," saying it all quaintly, and then you're like, and then you just hit the enter button on your DVD remote, and then suddenly things start whirring around, and it's like you're activating your special, your special decoder, and it opens up the DVD menu. And they had it for every DVD, and they were all themed differently. And they would have like the different music tracks playing depending on where you went in the DVD from the movie. And it was just a cool. The magic of early DVD. I do miss it. That's one thing I don't like about the Bond Blu-rays. To be fair, the standard menu thing they have is good, but it's the same for every DVD. But
you don't like that? I kind of like that.
No, I like the one they gave us, but I kind of miss how each of the old DVDs was themed for a different movie. But no, the theme they gave us is fine. I mean, it's more than we get on most Blu-rays, and I like the silhouetted naked women walking around with the guns and stuff. That's all good. But
sounds like my house.
Yes, right. And I know, I remember, I think I cut out, or I came in when you were talking about the intro. I know you didn't like the Moore intros, the Roger Moore intros as much, but I do like the one dancing girl at the beginning of Man with the Golden Gun. You see her in the background when the music kicks in. Ooh, now that's just dirty. This guy's just a fisherman trying to make a living. You shoot him in the back. I hate these guys. Right?
Seems mean, you could just knock him out.
Now, why knock out when you can kill? That's probably what the
All
bad
right,
guys say, right? It's like, you know. Oh, she
Remind
looks
me
lovely.
not to
Hmm?
have dinner with you anytime, Boomer.
Oh, she looks lovely here. Look at that hair. It's just kind of weird seeing. I mean, props to the other actresses, but she can really hold her own for the action stuff too. Michelle Yeoh, which I always thought was interesting.
It's probably one of the reasons why they cast her.
Yeah, no. Well, I'll say this. The Bond producers usually had their fingers on the pulse, and they knew a lot of these kung fu movies from Hong Kong and stuff. They were becoming big again, like they had in the '70s, and a lot of us were going out to check out the Jackie Chan movies that were finally getting brought over here, and some of these stars were finally being used over here in the West, and yeah,
Yeah, well, and that's one of the things about culturally in James Bond. Most movies, at least up until the last few years, probably since COVID, they would make 60% of their money in the US and then 40% of their money elsewhere in the world. But James Bond was always different. They generally made like 40% of their money in the US and then 60% overseas. James Bond is as much as he's popular here, he's even more popular in China and around the world. And
yeah.
that's why they always go to all the exotic locations, and they have the Bond girls from all over the world.
And I'm sure they have cameo actors from different countries popping up. Yeah. It's the Empire will strike back. That's such an awful time. Is that where you? Is there a Star Wars cue right there? Oh.
It's a great line. I don't know who came up with it in the writer's room, but they did a great job.
Napoleon had his armies.
But yeah, they do. Go ahead.
Well, this is just kind of a classic Bond villain plot, though, because like typically you're figuring, okay, Bond, he's going to be against some of these other nations, but it's usually not that simple, and usually it's him trying to stir. It's usually a villain trying to stir the pot between major world powers, and even the ones that Bond, the Britain is supposedly against, they're not gonna, or at least I'm not gonna say against, but there's more tension, It's really about defeating the greater foe, which are the people trying to start stuff up, Yeah. Do you know what's so bizarre? For years, I thought that actor was Ryan Felipe. I think when I first saw it, I thought it was Ryan Felipe, the blonde guy. They don't really look that much alike. I don't know why I thought that. Maybe the camera, maybe the got fuzzy. In fact, I think there was a bad, the cigarette burns. When movies transition, the reel change. There was a bad reel change in this scene. I remember that when I saw this in the theater, back before everything went digital. Yeah. I think the Blu-ray looks pretty good though that I'm watching right now. It's
Yeah, mine does too. I think some of the special effects they stand out a little bit more, so you can tell that it's a little fake than if you're looking on DVD or video. But for the most part, I think they look great on Blu-ray. I don't own a 4K, so I haven't watched any on them, but I enjoy Blu-ray.
I don't know if any of these are available in 4K. I think they put the Craigs on 4K. I don't know if I'm sure at some point they will re-release these on 4K. I don't know if I'm going to double dip because I have yet to even have a 4K TV. But
it has not seemed to me like it's worth it to switch over to 4K versus Blu-ray yet. Maybe at some point. And I think the thing is I don't care what Netflix and all of these streaming services say. I think when I play my Blu-ray, when I play anything on my Blu-ray,
Yep.
it looks so much better.
Oh yeah.
Than them saying, "Oh, we're broadcasting this in high definition or 4K or whatever."
Exactly.
So I have not seen a big, huge difference. I don't know if they're actually doing it or not, or what is different between when I play one of my Blu-rays versus stream it. But I don't get the visual clarity through streaming that I get through my Blu-ray player.
Well, because too, you also have to worry about interference with that too. Sometimes the internet speed dips out. There's always that. Of course, there's always the when it stalls. Now I don't know if you were to download it, if it would keep a basic clarity, maybe. But it's funny though. You know how like you used to get the Blu-ray DVD combos. Now when you get 4K, now a lot of the time we're seeing 4K Blu and regular Blu-ray combos. Because recently I picked up Six String Samurai, which is like a B movie from the 90s about Elvis was in a post-nuclear America future. Elvis was declared king, but then he died, so they have to declare a new king. And basically, the main character is supposed to be Buddy Holly. But it's just funny. But basically, the movie finally came to DVD, I think, or to Blu-ray, but you had to get it with the 4K Blu-ray, so it was a 4K regular DVD combo. So I picked it up. Because it still comes with the Blu-ray, so I figured I'll get that. But I still mainly just get Blu-ray. But
yeah, I'm still doing Blu-ray. I haven't
gotten a regular DVD in a while.
And there are things that I still own on DVD that I haven't bothered. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I've got the Austin Powers movie. Do I really need to get that in Blu-ray? Probably not.
I got them on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I got it because they were cheap. You get the pack for cheap, so I picked it up when it got cheap. If I can get a good deal on a Blu-ray and I like a movie enough, I'll pick it up. I still have plenty of DVDs though, and I worry about when I transfer. If I ever transfer to 4K TV, I know DVDs are going to look like crap because I think now you can upscale them on a regular HD TV, and they still look pretty good. But I think if you go to 4K, it's going to be varied results. So I'll finally have to upgrade my copy of Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things to 4K, I'm sure, at some point. But
yeah.
I'm talking during all these explosions. What am I doing? Do we like the reverse spike handcuff scene, huh?
I do.
It's complicated for me. I think that's half my pay grade. But
yeah, see, this is their nod to the the Hong Kong cinema of the time right here, I think.
I do like the little sequence with the helicopter. I don't think we haven't come up to that yet, but it's a good one.
I have a lot of like when the Weinstein Company was putting out the Dragon Dynasty DVDs, I picked up every one of them. And it wasn't just from China; it would be basically from different parts of Asia. Like I have some Korean action movies in there. I have some Thailand movies in there, and it's just because they do know how to do action over there. So.
Yeah, I haven't gotten up on my Asian cinema as much as I probably should.
If you ever want to get into the Shaw Brothers movies, they are getting re-released by Arrow in sets now. So if you want it, they are coming out on Blu-ray in sets if you want to feel like catching up on those older ones. Of course, they may have them streaming somewhere too. I don't know, but big fan of those 70s Kung Fu movies. I need to watch more of them, though. You're right. As much as I talk about owning a lot of them, I haven't gotten around to watching too many of them. The ones I've seen, I've loved, though. I will say that some of those early Kung Fu movies, they do not have good soundtracks. They almost have repurposed soundtracks from Western movies because they weren't caring about copyright, and it's. In fact, I think the original Drunken Master Jackie Chan repurposes some of the original Star Wars soundtrack in some scenes, but messes with it a bit, and it's just awful. It's awful. Then again, I think Yo-Yo Ma did the score for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I could be wrong, but I think. Oh, what's going on here? That's a brothel, or maybe not. I don't know.
And it's a shame this wasn't on the original soundtrack release.
Yeah. You never know, though. You may finally get that Entrada release.
Well, it's on the second. It's on the second volume.
I get the impression that we didn't get special soundtracks for these like the older Bond movies from whoever's releasing them. I get the feeling that I don't know. Are they embarrassed of the Brosnan era, the modern Bond producers? Because I feel like this era doesn't get a lot of love. I know there was some criticisms for Die Another Day, especially the snowboarding scene, the snowboarding avalanche or surfing, whatever it is at the end with the
I just didn't really care for
when the
anything.
giant satellite destroys the ice castle and like Brosnan's doing some CGI surfing on the snow.
Yeah, I think that,
I did like the hoverboat chase at the beginning, but that's the only thing in that movie.
It did have a great pre one when he's in North Korea and.
Yeah.
And I thought the villain was actually kind of decent for a Brosnan villain. You actually kind of saw the raw hatred between the two characters. So it's kind of silly that he changed his actual race, But
I think that the last two Brosnan ones, they just kind of got lazy a little bit, and they weren't really looking to change anything. They knew what their formula was, and they weren't going to change it. And
you didn't like World Is Not Enough?
I like it. It's not great. Well,
yeah.
I've already mentioned Denise Richards.
Yeah, I keep forgetting she's in that when you mention. I think of the other woman, the one from Braveheart, who was in it. Yeah, Sophie Marceau. Yeah, Sophie. Yeah,
yeah.
But,
so they kind of they were going through the motions, which is I always thought that in all of them, Pierce Brosnan was doing his best, and he was really trying to be Bond. And I feel like it was the movies and the writing that didn't quite live up to that.
And I'll be honest with you, I think when all is said and done, you want both. You want the actor doing his best to portray the character, and you want a good script. But I think, especially these days, I'm just wanting I'm just wanting the character to be treated like he's supposed to be, because you can have a bad, like I'll say this, a certain Indiana Jones movie that doesn't get spoken about on this channel,
as well as it shouldn't. So.
I have issues with that, but I still think the character is left intact in that movie. I just think it was the character being stuck in a very dumb story. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that movie ruins the character. It just, yeah.
But. I view my, when I bought the complete collection of Indiana Jones, that I have 3 movies, and then they included a coaster.
It's funny because I haven't upgraded the Blu-ray for the Indiana Jones. I have the DVDs of them they released right before Crystal Skull came out. The ones that they released right before then. Yeah, you okay?
Yeah. We can see us.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
See you, Birdman.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello? Can you hear us, Birdman?
We can see and hear you. You're all right.
You may want to, I don't know, you could always reset if you need to, Birdman. Yeah, he's going to do that. I'm not that I'm one to talk. I've been having trouble tonight too, technically. I missed the Apple iMac intro. I'm joking. No, actually, I will say this. I missed those designs when you bought electronics and they were all different colors and they were clear. And that's sort of what that intro reminds me of.
Yeah, I think
that's
you're
probably
right.
It's probably what it's trying to emulate. And I kind of miss that. I miss having all these clear consoles and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little worried that this is going to end up being soundtracks with Zootopia.
It'll be all right. He'll come back. We'll give him a timestamp. Like I said, we're getting into our rainy season around here, and I think there've been power surges everywhere. We keep losing the.
Yeah.
It like pops off for half a second, and comes right back on, but then the modem's out.
Oh. But this is a great action sequence. I think. This is a great fight. I think that this is showing her off, and what movie they could have done. But as I said, I think I think the main problem with it is you're making a Chinese agent be the hero, and I don't think cinema is quite ready to do that yet.
I think there was hope that things would normalize at this time. But you're right. It's because I don't think she's from Hong Kong. She's from the mainland. That was a thing.
But I would have been happy to see a movie with her. You know, they could have done something where she ends up being part of a team of international spies and she leads them or something.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I remember rolling my eyes at Brosnan. He just does a bash with like what is it, a garbage can lid or something. It's like, you know, it's like she's doing all the super kung fu moves and everything, and it's just.
Yeah, I do remember this as being the first time that I realized, oh, the Chinese have a different keyboard.
Oh, really? Yeah, they're different all over the world, I think. Yeah. I know Japan, they had different keyboards as well. I know James Bond was big in Japan as well. I know they got those movies at the time. That's probably why they set one in Japan later on. You only have twice. But I remember there was a popular James Bond manga comic made in Japan.
No, really.
And then they eventually lost the rights to Bond for the comic, or they didn't renew the rights. So then the creator of that comic came up with a character. I don't know if you know anime or manga at all, but his name was Duke Togo Gogo 13, who's known as the world's greatest assassin. Who's a very, I would almost argue, like a lawful evil character, because he'll kill anyone for $1 million, and there is no scruples. He'll do it, and it made me think that that's how the Japanese saw James Bond, and how maybe that's how he's seen in the East, as just an assassin. That's just how they look at him. And I remember at the beginning of Die Another Day how the one Korean guy, you know, says, "We found out who he is. His name is James Bond, a British assassin." And it's like, that's how they view him. That's, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's charming. Like, this is the whole thing. Like, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I guess.
That's something that he's struggled with.
That's true. In fact, going back to the Casino Royale novel, the first novel, he's having a crisis of faith by the end of it. He's saying, "Are we really any better than the side we're going up against?"
Yeah.
He's saying, you know, it's all, we're always yelling at the devil, but is the devil as bad as we think? Or, you know, he's having all these moral conundrums in the book, and then all the stuff happens with Vesper. He learns that she was, you know, being used by the organization known as SMERSH in that book, and you know, they were keeping her fiance. They were going to kill her fiance if she didn't do what they wanted her to do. But the trouble was, during the course of her being the being the double agent, you know, working Bond over, she ended up falling in love with Bond as well. So she was in love with both her fiance and Bond. She didn't know how to handle it, and she took her own life. And that's when Bond learned. And he basically said, any organization that would do this to somebody is worse than us. And that's when he decides to go back to being a spy. And the second book is him wanting to get revenge on SMERSH over what happened with Vesper. And so, yeah.
Which I thought that was, I really, with the Daniel Craig movies, I mean, I loved Ava Green. She may be my favorite Bond girl of all time.
I think she's one of the most beautiful actresses working in the business right now, I think.
But yeah. I think I did not like Leah Sado. Their chemistry together is the exact opposite of what I saw with Daniel Craig and Ava Green. And
who's Leah Sado?
She's the one in the last two great.
No, I don't even know her name. Yeah, I first saw her in Ghost Protocol as just one of the villains.
Yeah.
Oh no, Leah Sado.
Though they did not have chemistry at all. I think what they should have done is brought back Ava Green for those last two movies, and
that might have been interesting.
She didn't really die, and they saved her, and then she went and hid her away because They could have made Mr. White her father,
Yeah.
and then he saves her in the end after Bond thinks that she's died, and then he hides her away.
They figure out some way to resuscitate her or something. Yeah.
So I think that was a possible way to connect all the Daniel Craig movies, which they obviously wanted to do. And I think
they didn't have a plan going forward. It's very obvious Skyfall was supposed to be a standalone movie, and then Inspector, they tried tying it into the others. Like, oh no, the Javier Bardem guy was really working for Spectre. No, he wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was alone.
That was just a bad. I think they wanted what they wanted, but they didn't know how they wanted it, and so they just kind of did it piecemeal and picked out the parts without really thinking them through. And so, like you said, they made them more standalone. When I would be honest with you, I'd be happy if they make 3 Bond movies in a row that all tied together. If they wanted to do 5 Bond,
do like a trilogy, yeah, a trilogy. I think that could work.
I'd be fine with that. But
pick an actor, do a trilogy, and then see how the actor feels about doing another trilogy, or then just pick a new actor. You know, yeah. But he'd have to sign for 3. You have to sign for 3, and then you do a trilogy that kind of tie to each other. Because could you imagine? I could imagine Thunderball, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and You Only Live Twice as the books, at least that they were written, because that was the order they were in the books. I can imagine that as a trilogy.
Yeah.
You know,
they just shoehorned Blofeld in there. They wasted. Who's the actor that played him?
Christoph Waltz. Yeah, perfect actor for Blofeld.
And then they wasted. They especially wasted him in the last one, No Time to Die. Because they could have thought it through a lot better, and they didn't. And that was just terrible.
He's the Joker to his Batman, the Lex Luthor to his Superman. That's who Blofeld is. That's his arch nemesis. Yeah. You want to have a knockdown, drag out fight with them. Even if you're going to kill them off, you have to have it be a big finale. It's like, it's.
Yeah. You don't have to have them in every movie, but every other movie, every third movie, you can bring them back as the if not the main villain, the person who's in control of the main villain.
Yeah, exactly. That's what was always fascinating about those old Bond movies. You can tell he's working his way through this organization. Now, I don't blame them for the fact they didn't bring Blofeld back, because I find out later on they lost the rights to Spectre and Blofeld because of that writer dispute that went back to the days of Ian Fleming and the Thunderball novel. So I'm not attacking Eon Productions for that. If I had known at the time too, I probably would have cut some of these Brosnan movies more slack, because I was like, yeah, these are good, but I want the old Connery, Spectre back. But now looking back on it, these are still fun standalone adventures, and I would almost like that. Or maybe, and I know that the Raymond Benson novels, he did like a story arc with Bond as well, going after an organization called the Union. So they could always adapt that instead, and just, I don't know, just do something. I kept thinking, though, if they were going to bring Bond back to television, if they were going to go the route where Bond wouldn't be a successful movie series where they did television, I was thinking, well, who would you have as the first villain the first season? Like, do Goldfinger, have Goldfinger be the villain, because you can always bring Spectre in later. But Goldfinger completely loathsome. At some point, we'll do Goldfinger. Well, that's up to Birdman, obviously, but at some point, we'll do Goldfinger. Ooh.
Yeah, I think clearly, eventually they're going to want it, because I think streaming is just, they need content, and so they'll do a James Bond TV series, even though I don't think it lends it to it.
No, I like going to movie theaters and seeing spectacle. Yeah. Bond is for the spectacle. Of course, and there's nothing wrong with spectacle as long as it's done well. I mean, I love the world he inhabits. I love the supervillains, because he goes up against supervillains. These are supervillains.
Yeah,
they're not quite the same as like a Marvel or a DC supervillain, but they're supervillains in their own right.
Cool.
And Jaws. I want another henchman of the quality of Jaws.
That is true.
Oh, or even Oddjob. But yeah, Jaws was hilarious. That was just the henchman that couldn't be killed. That was his whole thing.
I liked. One of the few parts of Spectre I enjoyed was Dave Bautista.
Yeah, I thought, okay, well, here they got the henchman going on, and I thought they were going to bring him back from part 5 because he gets
I
thrown
did
out
too.
of a train, so he could have survived that.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna
Unlikely,
bring
but
back.
we didn't see him get killed. We just saw him get thrown out of the train. But
Yeah.
no, they didn't bring him. No, they didn't bring him back. Here's
Do you
my
have a
new. Mhm.
Do you have a favorite bad guy layer?
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't think about that.
Hmm.
Well, there's the one from You Only Live Twice, the volcano lair. That's
Everybody needs a volcano layer.
yes, exactly. I need to have a lair inside. What was it? It was inside Mount Fuji. Is that where that was?
Yeah, I don't remember. What.
I'm trying to think. I like the one from Live and Let Die, the voodoo lair, I guess I called it. The
island. Yeah.
yeah, it's just what's a good Bond lair? I'm trying to think. Oh, Stromberg's a huge ship from Spy Love Me. That's a good one. I don't know. I'll say the most beautiful lair though was the one from License to Kill. The
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's like I could live there. That's like so picturesque. It's not even funny. But
Well.
I'll say this. You know what lair actually stood out for me, and I know it's funny. The one from Doctor No, and I know it was a bare bones set, but they knew how to make that work. Like that one scene where when Doctor No is interrogating the one agent working for him, and you see the shadow of the gate over him, and it almost looks like a spider web. It's just it's neat.
Yeah, I think my favorite is the Spy Who Loved Me, the Stromberg underwater one.
It's a good one. It's a good one. This is sort of echoing the layer here, I think, in some ways.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's a water-based ship that can be invisible.
With that horrible underwater drill. What'd you think of the drill bird, man? With all the
Makes a lot of noise.
yeah. I don't know. I think of Daniel Craig Bond. I think of all things 90s geared toward young men. I think of like Maxim magazine. I think of like the game consoles of the time. It's just extreme sports. You know, it's all Surge Soda, remember Surge? And WWAF Attitude Era. It all runs together for me, you know. It's like,
there you go.
and of course, good Pierce Brosnan Bond movies, and I liked how it's one every 2 years. They shouldn't take forever with Bond movies. These should not be going on forever. 3 years tops, but even that I think is too long.
Yeah.
I remember being horrified with the J.J. Abrams Star Trek reboot when the sequel came out 4 years later. What the heck were you doing?
Yeah.
These should be cranked out. This is I know things take longer now because Bond movies at first in the old days they came out one a year when they first started. Then of course I understand productions get more complicated, complex. It was every 2 years. I think every 2 years for a Bond film. In fact, I'll say this: Mission Impossible. I don't think they do quite 2 years, but I feel like they're more regular than the Bond movies. I mean, and I think they're shooting these next two back to back. So,
well, yeah. I mean, I think the Mission Impossible movies are the new Bond films. They
yeah,
are
I mean,
that have
yeah,
taken Bond to the next level. And
I'd like to have both, but yeah, they're of course he shoots his own guy because that's what the villain does, right?
yeah, but yeah, it's the Mission Impossible one starting with number 4.
Yes,
the
Ghost
third
Protocol.
one was the J.J. Abrams one, and then after that is where once they Ghost Protocol, that's the one where they said, look, we're almost doing Bond. Let's just do Bond.
Yeah, I agree with you because I
let's
remember
do it even better.
I saw that one over the holidays, Ghost Protocol, and I remember thinking at the time, wasn't it nice to have a nice, fun movie to see around Christmas time? The way I used to be able to go see a Bond movie on Christmas time, but unfortunately, at that point, Daniel Craig was tied up. There was a big rights dispute because MGM hadn't been sold yet, so Bond movies were stalled. And I was like, but at least I have Ghost Protocol to see. And Ghost Protocol was a lot of fun. And I think they've been good ever since. And to be fair, the first 3 Mission Impossibles I like well enough. I know Birdman's not such a big fan of part 2, but
Yeah,
I understand because they it's John Woo Hollywood excess, but I still get a kick out of it myself. Are you a fan of Face Off, Birdman? With
No.
oh my
you don't like it when somebody pulls out some guns and some doves fly out from behind them?
That's never had to happen to me personally. So
oh, Face Off.
That happens to me like 3-4 times a day. I don't know where all these doves come from, but they're standing right behind me.
maybe they just pull out your leather trench coat, like.
Yeah.
There was a 3D anime movie called Appleseed made, and apparently John Woo had seen it and loved it so much he wanted to be a producer on the sequel. I kid you not, in the first shootout scene in Appleseed Ex Machina, the sequel, even though it's a computer animated anime movie, you see doves flying around. It's the first thing you see, and it's like, are you kidding me? It's like,
yeah, Brad Bird, he's the one that does all the movies with. Because the original concept of Mission Impossible was that Tom Cruise was going to use a different creative team every time, so he could work with different creative teams. But then once Brad Bird got on there, they kind of found the rhythm.
Has he been involved ever since? Yeah, because Brad Bird, I remember when they were Disney announced they had Star Wars, and I was thinking, hire Brad Bird to direct the trilogy, because I think he had even worked for Lucasfilm back in the day, and he had he did the Incredibles for Disney, so he had a relationship with Disney and for Pixar at least, and he also he can do live action because he's a Ghost Protocol. I thought he would have been a shoo-in as director for the next Star Wars trilogy, but that's not what ended up happening. But
yeah. Well, that was the last time I was excited to hear that J.J. Abrams was attached to a project.
What, Mission Impossible?
No, Star Wars.
Oh, right.
Well, that's great.
To be fair, Abrams was mixed because I used to think as a television producer he was pretty good. He did Lost. I know people got a little angry at the final season, but for a while that was the must-see TV. I loved Fringe, which he produced. I thought that was an excellent science fiction television series. I know he produced that.
Yeah.
And then we got Star.
I think that's on HBO Max right now. That's
yeah.
And if you get a chance anybody out there who hasn't seen Fringe, go watch Fringe.
Yeah, it's actually is a it's a show that
the last season.
Every season, last season, but I feel that show stuck the landing, which so rarely happens. Yeah. I thought I was satisfied with the end of that show. Yeah. With the final season. I almost wish the final season had been a full season, but whatever. It's fine because they were in that horrible future.
Great series with Leonard Nimoy in it. Yeah,
it was cool. He would guest star every so often, and it was neat how his character would change depending on how the timeline got screwed up. Yeah. And, here we go, though. Here we have our typical Bond Brosnan era villains with the black body armor, and it's just good movie. What did you think of Robert Carlyle's villain in World Is Not Enough? I thought he was kind of interesting. I don't know.
Oh, he was fun.
He's a good actor. I feel like none of the Brosnan villains hit the top. Maybe the best was 006. I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, obviously Sean Bean.
Yeah, 006. Yeah, I think they were trying, though. I'll say this, especially when you think about I think they really were cranking these things out 2 a year, right? Or at least I think Die Another Day came out 3 years later, because in the 90s you had 95 Goldeneye, 97 Tomorrow Never Dies, 99 World Is Not Enough. So they really were knocking these out.
Yeah, well, they kind of had that pent up energy after they weren't able to do some for a couple of years, because wasn't Wasn't the Dalton one? Was that 87?
87,
Yeah, it was a while.
Yeah.
And I almost think now maybe you guys need to take another breather and figure out what you're doing. Okay, that's what I'm almost thinking. If they want to bring him back and stop being embarrassed of the character. And I swear, if I see another movie where I have some guy where Bond is strapped to a chair being tortured, I'm going to be mad.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever see that in a Brosnan movie. I think I always see like they're about to do something. Like he'll get punched a few times, but he's just taking it, and then he figures out a way to turn it on the guy. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I think to go along with what I said, that an actor needs to be 35 to 45. I think if you did 35 to 45 and putting one out every 2 years, you'd get 5 movies out of an actor.
Yeah,
from 35 to 45. I think that to me would be a good era of Bond.
And if they're really successful and you're doing it, maybe shoot them back to back. Think about it at least. I know that's a lot of money, but
saves money is what it does.
It does in the long run, yeah.
It's just that if you screw it up, boy, is that a big
that's a big loss.
Ball hanging out there.
And I don't know. I can't tell if Die Another Day was a success for if it was, because I know that was forever sitting on the shelf too. But I think they can at least sell it as a success. But I'm serious though. You guys got to figure out what you're doing.
Yeah. Have you thought about who you would like to see as the next Bond?
I have no idea. I know Henry Cavill keeps being floated around. I don't know about Henry Cavill as the next Bond. I'd have to hear word of mouth when that movie came out to see if it was even worth seeing. But I don't know anyone else. I know that they originally were thinking about Tom Hiddleston. Remember that was years ago? They were.
Yeah, I heard when he started dating Taylor Swift, they decided not to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Makes
why?
No sense to me.
I don't understand. Oh, because we want him to be kind of unknown, and if he's dating, he's known. I'm like, well, he was Loki. He's been in other stuff besides that too. I mean, I don't know.
I think
Hiddleston might have been interesting as a Bond. I don't know.
I think Idris Elba could play Bond. I know he's like in his 50s.
That's the problem, though. He's getting older, and I know another thing.
Yeah, but he's got the physicality to convince me that he could hurt me and hurt me bad.
He was the best part of that Hobbs and Shaw movie. I'll say that. The one with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Jason Statham. Because I didn't care for that movie, but I thought he was pretty good in it. But he's actually been getting annoyed at being asked about it too, though. So they're going to have to go with somebody new. I don't even know Cavill. Do you have a favorite Zootopia? Somebody you've seen that you might like?
Well, I think.
Oh wait! Let me see Jonathan Pryce getting thrown into the propeller. I'm sorry.
Yeah, by the way, this is a great death.
That's kind of brutal. I mean, I'm going to give the people what they want. That's like an Arnold type thing. Okay, I'm sorry. You were saying who would you pick?
It says Tom Hardy's in the running.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
no.
I think what you need to start with someone like how Ian Fleming described Bond, which is all women want him, all men want to be him.
Yeah.
And so I think you can have a lot of people that all women want. Like, you could get a Tom Hiddleston. I don't think all guys look at Tom Hiddleston or like.
Maybe Henry Cavill. I'll say that the women do love him. I'll say that.
Yeah. I think Henry Cavill would probably be best.
I would give him a shot. He was in that last Mission Impossible as the Heavy, and he was pretty good in that. Yeah,
I thought he was terrific.
Yeah. So,
and
we'll
you know
see.
what?
Yeah.
What else? A movie, and this might be a suggestion for you to do on this channel. The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
I need to still watch that.
That was fantastic. I really like that.
Maybe I'll check that out this weekend. As I even bought the Blu-ray of that, but I never got around to watching it. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. That
was Guy Ritchie, correct?
Correct, and. That's the first movie I remember Alyssa Vikander from.
Yes.
So I hadn't really remembered her from anything else. But Armie Hammer was great. Henry Cavill was great.
She was in one of the Bourne movies, Vikander. She was in one of the Jason Bourne movies.
Yeah, the last one with the worst one.
Oh, speaking of which, she is she married, I believe, or seeing to what's his name?
To
Michael Fassbender.
Fassbender I could have seen as Bond too. I don't know about now, but I could have seen him back in the day.
Yeah, he absolutely. I think if you had gotten him right after he did his first X-Men movie, I think that would have been good.
He would have been a good pick.
Closer to 50 now.
Yeah, that's the problem. He's getting up there. Cavill's getting closer to 40, but you can probably still use him. I'm trying to think who else. There was another actor I thought could have been Bond. Oh, well. You skipped my mind there for a sec. Here we go. We got the...
Well, obviously, I think the number one pick could have been Birdman. He's got the tux already.
Shaken, not stirred. You got to say that.
I can kind of do a British accent.
Is this the part where not Ryan Felipe got killed? I don't know why I thought that was Ryan Felipe when I was a kid. What was I? How old was I? 97, 20?
Nicholas Hoult, James Bond.
I don't know. I remember I did want him for Batman, but that didn't happen. They picked the other
Robert
guy.
Pattinson. Is he British? Is he American?
Yes.
What is he?
That's right. That's right. And I was thinking of American actors. I thought John Hamm, younger John Hamm, could have played Bond, but they'd never pick an American actor. But I thought John Hamm could have done it.
Yeah, I think he fits that. All women want him. All men want to be him.
Yeah.
I think he fits that.
That's who I was thinking of, but I don't know. They could pick an unknown. I know there was that guy from that movie Me Before You, who did have the look of a Bond. Guy was in the wheelchair in that movie, but I don't know. Where would you go with the new Bond? Would you try adapting more Fleming novels? Would you try to do original stuff?
I'd probably just go with some books.
Yeah,
I might pick the Benson books. I might pick the Raymond Benson books. Or like I said, you could do... I don't know if I want to have more Bond movies where he gets put through the emotional ringer again. I think I'd like to wait on that for a bit. Because like I said, I'd love to see Thunderball, and Honor Majesty's Secret Service, and then top it off with You Only Live Twice. Because the whole point of the title, You Only Live Twice, was that Bond was so devastated by what happened at the end of Honor Majesty's Secret Service that he basically had to die. He basically died and had to come back. That's what that meant.
I think
here we go.
They should do one where it turns out Queen Elizabeth is the big bad guy, so he's got to take her out.
Oh yeah, that'll go over well. Yeah.
It turns out the person above Blofeld is Queen Elizabeth.
Meghan Merkel can be the Bond girl in that, that movie. Yeah, she was on Fringe all 3 episodes. They originally thought she was being set up to give Pacey, Joshua Jackson's character, Peter Bishop, a love interest while the stuff with Olivia was supposed to happen, but then that just never. She came for 3 episodes and went.
Yeah.
Your life is a story.
Telling you, it's a much better song than that Sheryl.
I've already written about a lovely lady. I'm sorry. Wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Brady Bunch now. Okay. Here we go. Blue titles on black. Why can't more movies do this? Hong Kong stunt theme. See, I told you they wanted to get that. They knew the kids, like myself, were liking the Hong Kong movies at that point. Did you ever see Rumble in the Bronx? You should at least watch the trailer to it. You never saw Rumble in the Bronx?
No.
They shot the Bronx in Hong Kong. They said, I didn't realize there were mountains in the back of the Bronx. Some guy said it one scene.
Yeah, David, this should have been the opening number, not the end number.
And who sings this one?
Katie Lang.
Katie Lang, okay.
What's your favorite Bond song, Birdman?
Well, seeing as how Shirley Manson's in every room in my house, I think I have to go with The World Is Not Enough.
Mm-hmm.
But the elementary school Birdman really liked A View to a Kill.
Yeah, that's actually that was that Aha that did that?
That was Duran Duran.
Duran, never mind. Who? Oh, Aha did Living Daylights, I think.
Living Daylights, yeah.
Okay.
And they broke John Barry. He's like, I'm never doing a Bond movie again after dealing with these people. He had a fine time working Duran Duran, but he said, Aha, they were just like, I can't do this anymore. So I don't know what they did to him, but it's just like, wow.
Okay, wow. All right. I don't know. I do like Man with the Golden Gun. Who was that Lulu that sang that? I'm trying to think. Mr. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is a great Bond song that wasn't actually used in the Thunderball title sequence because they went with Tom Jones instead for that one.
Yeah, that's a great one. I do like I like Tom Jones in that.
Yeah, they're both good. They're both very strong openers. Like, in fact, if you listen to the DVD, they said this opening was originally on the commentary. This opening was originally supposed to have the Mr. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and then they just let the song play over the opening, so you could see what the opening would have been like with the alternate music track. Yeah. So it's interesting.
Tom Jones still around? Is he still alive?
I don't know.
Because he's got to be pretty up there.
Let's see here. Tom Jones.
82.
Wow. Okay. James Bond will return. It was cooler when they gave you the titles, but obviously they're kind of making these up as they go along. Like I said,
think they've kind of they didn't have the books to go by, so they didn't know what they were going to do next.
But again, I don't know if those Benson novels are worth converting. I haven't read them, but he did write a bunch of Bond novels posthumously, passing in Fleming. That might be. And that's another thing too. When they do this next Bond movie, is it a new continuity? It can't be set in the Daniel Craig continuity unless it's going to be about his daughter, all grown up and being Jane Bond. Which don't tell me they weren't trying to set that up.
I think they're trying to see if they can get away with it.
Yeah, it's like it's his daughter. Come on, his French-speaking daughter that talks about mosquitoes or something dying or something. And it's like, shut up, kid. I don't care.
I was so disappointed in that. I was. If you notice, go back and watch the opening pre-credit scene. Bond doesn't show up until 15 minutes into it.
It's ridiculous.
It's all about her.
Of course, it's about her. I just
Nobody.
All right, guys, let's focus on happier things. Yes, David, we will do Showgirls. I have to get a new tablet that's 5G compatible.
Wait a minute. Next weekend we're doing Showgirls?
No, we're not. I have to get a 5G compatible tablet to do Showgirls.
Okay. So what are we doing next week?
I haven't decided yet. We'll have to ponder that for a minute.
Well, that's all right. Let me know what you want to do, or if you need to postpone or whatever, just let me know either way. But it should be fun. Are you doing a Batman show on Monday?
Yes.
Okay. Are you going to talk about Batman on this Batman show?
He'll probably be mentioned at some point, very briefly.
There you go.
But Batman show is doing very well. It's clocking in well over 100 views per show. So,
no, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
If I ever have a Monday off, I'd be able to jump on sometime.
Yep.
Won't be able to do this Labor Day, though. It's my brother's birthday, but maybe some other time.
That is coming up, isn't it?
What? Labor Day? Yes, it is. You have a Labor Day special.
Well, I don't think that means anything in Canada or Great Britain, which is 2/3.
All right. Well, I don't know what to tell you anyway. But anyway, all right.
I am going to California second weekend in September.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, a YouTube friend is having his birthday, and his wife offered to fly me out as his birthday present. So
that's super cool. Okay, yeah. Okay.
We're gonna go around and make toy videos in San Francisco.
Excellent. Oh, okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, definitely. I'm sure you have some
toy habits.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. Yeah.
So I'll really only be there for like a day. So we're just gonna take Saturday and do some toy videos for his channel. So I think it should be fun.
That sounds cool.
Cool. All right.
Hopefully I won't get murdered or anything. So
There are nice areas everywhere. I'm sure they just, I don't know. We'll see.
I really think that'd be great for your channel, though. I think the views would go up.
Yeah, think about it. It's like whenever an artist dies, their stuff becomes more.
well, my cherry
untimely
permit is not recognized by the great.
It is
state of
not. It
California.
is not. So
Plus, none of my magazines are California compliant.
you probably can't even bring a taser with you, right? I mean, that's probably that's not even legal out there. I'm just thinking.
No,
Well, I think
don't.
as soon as you get off the plane, you have to hand all your money to a homeless
I
person.
don't think I can take this with me.
You know what? That's not a bad idea. Maybe have some loose bills just in case. Better than that than taking out your wallet, right? Okay.
David says he loves the Batman show. Thank you. We love it when you come by and ask questions.
Gotcha.
No, I will not be stalking John Williams. He lives like 7 hours down the road from San Francisco. And I won't say his address on screen, but I will not be stalking John Williams. I won't be there long enough. If I get in Friday night, I leave like.
You're going to be at his fence screaming, "Make the soundtrack to Bullet." I don't care. Make it.
I think that movie's a couple years off, isn't it? Still?
I know, but he still has time to change his mind, right? Come on.
He does.
I'm going to be curious.
I would just be happy with the complete scores to Indiana Jones on CD at some point.
If Spielberg cast the actor that played Steve McQueen in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that might be interesting. The guy who was on Homeland, because he looks kind of like Steve McQueen. He could cast him. He has a similar look to Steve McQueen. I think he's redheaded, but he could dye his hair blonde, I think. And that might work.
Yes, David, complete Temple of Doom, complete Last Crusade, please, please, please. And there's like 2 minutes missing from Raiders still.
Gotcha. All righty.
Boomer, you got a show coming up Sunday?
Yeah, I got one on Friday with Troy. He'll have a special guest. And then Sunday, back to Geeky Geezers. A lot of interesting stuff going on this week. Got to tell you, all the news these days is about Warner Brothers. There's a lot of stuff going on there. They did a little weird thing where they removed a bunch of the stuff from HBO Max. So I'm going to be talking about that. And also, they're keeping an eye on DC Comics. They're seeing what's profitable and what's not. It's a rumor.
Nothing.
Obviously, but that's what I'm thinking. I mean, I think they're looking. And apparently, House of Dragon did very good ratings. So I don't know how people feel about that show, but it did very well on HBO Max. It almost broke the. I think it almost shut down the server. So I guess people still hungry for Westeros. So from Game of Thrones. So
I think if you make a good product, people will watch it. So
I don't know anything about the show. I haven't seen it, so I can't. Well, I just heard things. But
for a redo of season 7 and 8.
That's a rumor going around that they might do that, and they might pretend like it was a vision of Bran. It might be hard getting the cast back together, but I do know the cast loved doing the show.
Recast.
So
problem solved.
No, but I do. Well, they have done that with some roles, but I do know the cast loved doing the show. So I don't know if that's just a rumor at this point. I don't know if I'm going to pay any credence to it. We'll see what they plan to do.
Yeah, they're not going to do that. I can't imagine them going back and doing that.
I think that's wishful thinking, but you never know. Yeah. Alrighty, but that's my week, and like I said, everyone have a happy Labor Day. Tune into you have off on Labor Day. Turn into the Batman show live with Soundtracks of Birthday.
Live. And I'm just posing a quick question, Boomer. I'm thinking about ordering a new set of dinner clothes. I was thinking about a dark brown tuxedo.
Yeah.
Thoughts, opinions?
I'd have to see it. Do you have do you like a brown suit? I don't know. I guess it depends on what shade of brown. Most everything I wear is
brown or olive.
No gray. You don't do gray.
Not a whole lot. No.
Brown can work if it's a good shade.
See, like Ralph Lauren had a purple label one a couple years ago, but I didn't want to drop I don't know. I think they wanted like $8,000 for it, and I've just been kind of wanting one ever since. And I think I might order one.
Okay. Well, I think about that, but yeah, brown can work.
Davis says brown is for the meek.
I don't know if it's for the meek, but whenever I think brown suits, I think of stuff from like the 40s or the 50s. Do people still wear brown suits? Maybe they do. I just don't see what the politicians are
I
wearing.
would say like 75% of my wardrobe is tweed.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, I think I'm more of a gray suit kind of guy. Not that I wear suits that often, but all right.
Anyways, we'll be back next week with a different movie. No idea what yet. Suggestions, post them below.
Ghoulies 3, I believe it is. Ghoulies Go to College. We'll be checking that out.
Probably not.
Okay.
Have you seen Arachnophobia?
Actually, that'd be a good one. I have the Blu-ray of that. That might be a good one to check out. Yeah.
All right. Well, if Arachnophobia is on, if I can get that on Google Play, we'll do Arachnophobia. That was Trevor Jones' score. Frank Marshall directed. And maybe I'll message Frank Marshall on Facebook and say, hey, you want to come on for Arachnophobia next week?
If not, I'm sure you get Big Al on. Maybe he's a fan of that, or maybe see if anybody else likes that. I don't know.
Big Al's a fan of everything. Mostly.
Anyway, Tomorrow Never Dies. Good Brosnan movie, and doesn't get old. It's they're all fun to watch. I'll even cut Die Another Day some slack, but I know I'm a minority here. I like Rosamund Pike in that. I used to think Rosamund Pike was gorgeous, and then I saw Gone Girl. Now she terrifies me.
when she cut Doogie Howser's throat in bed while he was
that's just that's a ghost story for men. That's just don't marry the wrong woman. I don't care. Anyways, all right.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Utopia.
Oh, great to be here. Thank you for having me.
And adopt, don't shop. Keep listening to great film music, and we will see y'all. Boomer will see you Friday and Sunday, and I will see y'all Monday. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Night.